I'm great. Thanks, Corey. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. How's everybody? Happy Tuesday. I hope that you all enjoyed yesterday's sports equinox, as we were affectionately referring to it as. I very did. What a night we had last night. We had Major League Baseball on, World Series game number 3, and the Dodgers are up 3-0. Go ahead and ice the champagne, fellas, because this one is over with a capital O. We had the National Football League. Little Monday Night Football last night as the Steelers smoked the Giants, as was anticipated. Russ Wilson looked pretty good. Another game in a row, but he also did it against the New York Giants. So, on one hand, good on Russ. On the other hand, hold your horses just a little bit.
I mean, he looked good in the second half.
He looked fine in the first half, but the Steelers have, even when Justin Fields was in there,
9-6 or something.
Again, he looked fine. For the record, the Steelers had like 225 yards of offense in the first half and just couldn't score. And again, the point of the game, and this may shock you, the point of the game is to score.
Okay, who needs a map to help find the end zone?
The Steelers. And the Giants, of course. But
did you just play Dora?
Okay, who needs a map to help find the end zone?
Come on, how's that not the funniest clip ever?
Wow.
I swear to God, I'll Billy Club him and knock him over like a baby seal. I ain't taking no
Either or.
Your clips are becoming more and more violent.
I felt like an idiot.
Not all of them. I do have a new fun one. I do have a new fun one that I'm actually very excited about working into the rotation.
Other than Dora? I mean, Dora's pretty strong. Was that Cody Decker?
Nope. Try again. Better.
I don't know.
Better. Grunk laugh.
Oh.
Grunk laugh.
Same thing.
Oh, okay. I won't tell Tech you said that. Yay!
Yeah, that
2-1.
counts. Even though it just turned off on me. Yeah, I'm not afraid of him. So I mean,
he's a big boy. He's
also in New York.
I also added.
Y'all gonna die.
That one's my favorite today. That one's
wow.
very my favorite.
I know
today.
you didn't watch last night, so you just caught that clip, did you?
Y'all gonna die.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. I didn't watch last night because I was watching I'm not gonna lie, I watched the World Series last night.
Hey, good for you. You've got a baseball show on the weekend. It's part of your job.
I'd have watched it even if I didn't have a baseball show on the weekend. It's the World Series, man. It's the Fall Classic.
Yeah, football and wrestling was on last night, so I watched a little bit of both of those.
I
turned it over to baseball for a second because I remembered it was on and the score was, I don't know, it was like fourth inning, like 3-0. I was like, yeah, this thing's over. I'm going back to watching something more interesting for me. For me, more interesting for me.
For you it's a good save. A baseball game can swing 4 runs in one swing. So there, in any game that is,
I'm aware of grand slams. I know,
or as we call them on this show, works. Giant dongs.
That's what until eventually you're told to stop.
Well, it ain't happened yet
because he ain't heard it yet.
Oh, come on. There's no way he ain't heard it yet.
He hasn't heard it yet. You strategically place that word in places where he hasn't heard it.
Freddie Freeman with a gigantic dong last night went, 3 games, 3 dongs for Freddie Freeman, who is a machine. Atlanta Braves legend, Freddie Freeman. Sometimes your team does something that you get mad at them for it. Like, or your wife or your dog or your kids or whatever, but like your team, right? Like they do something and you're like, I love you, but I'm real upset with you right now. Watching Freddie Freeman do Freddie Freeman things, going out there, and he's good now. But Freddie Freeman has played a solid chunk of this postseason on one wheel, on a bad ankle. And he's doing this. 3-0 are the Dodgers. 3 dongs for Freddie Freeman. The guy's playing lights out baseball right now. And it kind of frustrates me a little bit that this cat wanted to be a career Atlanta Brave. And I still, honestly, I still to this day don't know why that happened. Like, I get the premise that you were trying to go younger. I get the premise that you were trying to build like a good young core that you were going to be able to keep together for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. But what? Huh? What? Hat? What? You let a cat who had been playing this caliber baseball for you for what was it? A dozen years? 12 years he'd been playing this level of baseball. And you let him walk because you didn't want to pay the guy. So he goes to LA, and all he's done is brought them to and is now clubbing them through a World Series. It is frankly mind-numbing to me to be sat on the couch last night in the bro cave watching World Series baseball. Here comes fabulous Freddie Freeman for AB number 1 in the first inning of the 3rd game of the World Series. To see him club another one, and realize ain't no reason, ain't none reason that guy's not still an Atlanta Brave. And again, I know you had the opportunity to go get Matt Olson out of Oakland. And Matt Olson had a year where he was an absolute stud. This year got real sideways for him. Just couldn't see the baseball like he did the year before. And if you had to replace Freddie Freeman, Matt Olson, pretty good choice to do it with. But see, the thing is, and I've gotten into this with a Braves fan a couple of times, where I said, well, I mean, or they said, you know, if you had to replace Freddie Freeman, Matt Olson's a pretty good guy to do it with. And I said, you're not wrong, except here's the problem. You didn't have to replace Freddie Freeman. Freddie did not make it a secret that he wanted to be a career Bravo. He wanted to be in the ATL, for his whole career. And y'all couldn't pull that off? Y'all couldn't make that happen? Why? Well, we'd had to pay him. Okay. Well, I mean, the Dodgers are paying him, and I'm not going to lie. It looks like, though I am no baseball expert, kind of looks like it's working out for them. Man's on a bad wheel, still out there clubbing, hacking, swanging. I don't know what to say. Alex Anthopoulos, I said back in 2021, GM of the decade. The moves that guy made in the run-up to that World Series, the moves he's made since, have almost exclusively been good. And this might be the best illustration, at least in the world of sports. This might be the best illustration in the world of sports of getting it wrong once carries a lot more weight than getting it right 95% of the time, right? Like getting it wrong once sticks. It's unfortunate but true. I have said for many years, kind of as a joke, but not exclusively as a joke, that one of the things that I advise people, and again, it's gonna sound like a joke partially because it is, but one of the things that I advise specifically young people when given the opportunity is to make sure that you are monetizing everything that you do. Monetize everything that you do and make sure you are tracking what you do and you are getting paid appropriately for it. Because once you do a thing a couple times, something a couple of times, that becomes a part of people's expectations for you, right? So that time That nice time that somebody says, hey, can you knock this thing out for me? And you go, sure thing, no worries. And then you do that thing. And then maybe a couple weeks later, they come and go, hey, remember that time you did that thing for me? I really appreciated it. I hate to ask, but could you do it again? And you say, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm going to do it again. Do you know what happens the third time? The third time, you just get told to do it. Do that thing. Do that thing now. Wait. That's not part of my job. Yeah, it is. You made it part of your job because you keep doing the thing. Do your thing. Do that thing. The reason I do that is because what you do becomes expectation. And the more expectations you have, the more your mistakes start to stand out. This is why Alex Anthopoulos, and I even acknowledge that I'm the one doing it in this case. That's why this man brought a, frankly, unexpected World Series to the Atlanta Braves in 2021. I mean, unexpected World Series to the Braves in 2021. And had to navigate a minefield during the trade deadline to do it. Had to balance a ton of personalities within that locker room of all different backgrounds to make that roster World Series caliber. It was a World Series that to this day, I have gone back and watched replays of Game 6 when Jorge Soler sent a ball out to Jupiter and loved it. Because I genuinely did not think I'd ever see the Braves win another World Series. And they did. And Alex Anthopoulos deserves his flowers for getting them there. But, since then, things ain't gone great. And yes, I kind of hold a bit of a grudge about the Freddie Freeman thing because for all that Antho got right leading up to that World Series, putting together some pretty good teams since then. Remember, the Atlanta Braves this year were expected to win 103 games. Derailed by injury, sure. But I would also point out that, and this got brought up in I think Game 2 of the World Series. We have been saying all year long, derailed by injuries. The Braves derailed by injuries. You know who the most injured team is? The team that missed the most games out of opening day starters due to injury. You know what team it was? The LA Dodgers. And yet, here they are, one win away from a World Series championship that I'm at this point just convinced they're going to sweep the Yankees in for. This is going to go from a World Series that was maybe the most anticipated in a couple of decades, to be honest with you, to maybe the most anticlimactic World Series in history, maybe. This was set up to be a 7-game banger. This was set up to give us 7 games of banger after banger after banger after banger after banger. But that's not what we got. Instead, we're sitting on the verge of a sweeping Game 4, and I'm going to keep it a buck. There's one way for the Yankees to not get swept, and that is hope that in the inevitable bullpen game that is Game 4 for the Dodgers, somebody screws up. Somebody just has the worst inning in World Series history. The Yankees can take advantage and fight their way back into this one. I'm not banking on it. So it should have been a 7-game banger between two Titans. Instead, it's going to be a 4-game sweep by one team. The most injured team in baseball, the team that lost more games to injury out of opening day starters than any other team in the league, is a game away from the World Series. And this is why when I sat last night and I watched this football contest, and I watched Freddie Freeman hit another one. 3 games, 3 dingers, including a grand slam, the most gigantic of dongs back in Game 1. I'm a little frustrated. I'm a little frustrated as a Braves fan. I'm a little frustrated as an Atlanta fan. Because there is no reason that guy should be in Los Angeles right now. He didn't want to be anywhere but Atlanta. you could have kept him in Atlanta. And all you had to do was come up with a little bit of money. Like I said, I think the blow was softened by the fact that his replacement, Matt Olson, came in and had a year where he led the league in home runs and ribbies. So what? What's that accomplished for you? He had one really good year. Did the Braves win the World Series that year? No. They lost to the Phillies again, second time in a row in the divisional round. 2 in a row they did that since Freddie Freeman left. Now, I'm not saying that Freddie Freeman would have fixed it, that Freddie Freeman would have had this team elevated beyond the Phillies in the divisional round, but he's got 3 home runs in 3 World Series games, and the Dodgers are on the verge of a sweep, and a large part of it is because of fabulous fact, not even because of. It is straight up because of. Game 1, Freddie goes yad with the bases juiced to win the game, to walk off the game. Last night, opening frame, Freddie Freeman hits another 2-run jack, puts the Dodgers up 2-0, effectively removes the Yankees fans from the equation. That place, despite an embarrassing pregame concert from Fat Joe, that was supposed, I don't know if you caught this. Game 2 out in LA, the Dodgers brought out Ice Cube. Had Ice Cube do a pregame on-field concert, and it was.
I'm glad you
dope.
elaborated, because when you said ice, of course, everyone thought Vanilla Ice. And
yes,
yeah.
you know the Dodgers, Los Angeles, California, the land of cool, brought out Vanilla Ice, baby.
Hey, Rob, where's Vanilla Ice from?
I have no idea. I'm pretty sure Jacksonville. In fact, I'm just gonna say Jacksonville. Man, you're gonna make me look this up. I swear to you, if it's Jacksonville, I'm gonna lose my mind. Dallas checks out. Born in Dallas, raised there, and apparently as an older kid moved to Miami. Not the point. They brought out Ice Cube, who did a dope on the field concert before the game 2. New York countered last night with Fat Joe, who clearly could not hear the music because he was like a full half a second off. And I got news for you. If your lyrics are a half second off at a hip-hop song, it goes real bad. Then my man's walking around on the pitching mound. No, don't do that, Joe. That's not where you go, Joe. Not in Tim's. No, Joe. It was not good. Deck and I were texting back and forth. I'm like, yo, Dodgers 3-0 tonight. Not a joke. And they were, because of Freddie, who should be in Atlanta. This is not what I planned on talking about here, but how do I not? All right, let's take a break. Come back. We do have a lot to talk about. 4 leagues all in action last night. We got results from all. I am Rob, the great one, Lonzo, on the ones and twos. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. All right, good morning, guys. Got a quick read right out of the gate. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
At least he wasn't lip syncing.
He wasn't lip syncing. That was very clear.
I mean, there's that.
Very clear. What is? I don't like that at all.
Sure you grabbed the right one?
Yeah. It's like dragging.
Did you drop it?
No. There it goes. Get out of here, Joe. I mean, don't actually get out of here. Stick around, but if there's one guy on the Dodgers that's not freeloading right now, it's Fabulous Freddy.
Good morning, Wesley.
Hey, buddy. Welcome in, except for when you say things like that.
So real. It's so close. Can't wait.
I'm trying to figure out what absolute waste of time thing can I do instead of watch that. I may literally watch paint dry just to say I did.
Mm-hmm.
Wesley just popped into the live stream, which you can watch at facebook.com/thefanupstate, the Fan Upstate on YouTube, the Rob Brown Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. Search the Rob Brown Show, search the Fan Upstate, and watch the live stream. Zoe and I are live all 4 hours, 5 days a week, every day that we're here. Wesley, our buddy Wesley, has been popping in the chat every day and giving us a completely unrequested countdown to the Tyson Paul thing.
Giving doesn't require a request. You do it out of the abundance of your heart. And thank you, Wesley. I appreciate it.
You know, if I walk up and I give somebody a punch in the gut without it being requested, that's a bad thing. All right? It's a bad thing. I am trying
Especially
to
if they're
figure out.
Harry Houdini, because they'll die like a couple of days later.
Well, he got hit with a cannonball. I'm not quite there.
No. Someone punched him, and that's why he died.
Oh, that's right. The cannonball thing was like his big stunt.
He wasn't ready
Yeah.
for it, so he didn't brace himself.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what boring ass monotonous thing do I want to do instead of watch that fight? I think I might. I haven't decided
baseball
yet.
will be over by then, so I mean,
I might just take like one like swipe of paint and put it on a wall somewhere. I might literally watch paint dry instead of watching this.
You know what? I'm in the middle of a painting project. If you would like to come over and help finish that painting project, you can finish painting my kitchen, and then you can watch it dry.
I do not want to paint. I would rather just watch paint dry. In fact, I may ask the wife, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you dip that paintbrush into that thing of paint and just go across a canvas, and I'm just going to watch that paint dry. I
tried to facilitate, and you just don't. I mean, it's your scenario. I tried to help you out. There's a play. So not only would you be able to watch paint dry, but you'd be able to help someone out who needs help.
No, because you keep trying to make this Paul Tyson thing worse. It's not happening. All right.
I'm just legitimately very interested in it because I want to see Mike Tyson knock him out.
He's not
I
going
would
to.
think that you would want to see that too.
I'll make you a lunch bet right now. Nobody goes to sleep in this fight. Want to make that lunch bet? I will take you back for pizza round 2.
All right. So here's the thing.
Nobody's going to sleep in that fight.
I think you need to clarify, go to sleep.
Knocked out.
Because if it's on as late as some fights are, there's a bunch of people going to sleep and watching it the next day.
Yeah, you know who should? Mike, because he's 60. It's past your bedtime, Michael.
What is your bedtime?
You got pigeons to get up and feed, bud.
What's a bedtime for a 60-year-old?
I don't know. I'm not there yet.
Well, I mean, you obviously have some ideas. I want to know, as I'm approaching 60, I want to know what my bedtime is.
I don't know. It was meant, Alonzo. This is going to shock you, as a joke, because Mike Tyson's a grandfather, or at least old enough to be one. This is not a boxing match. This is a money grab and nothing more.
Let him live, Rob. Apparently you think once you reach a certain age, you should not live. And if living for him is boxing, then he should box.
No,
Yes, he should.
No, Lonzo, no. Here's the problem. You know what? It's not that he is boxing. You're right. If he wants to wake up every day and take his big ass down to the gym and pop into a ring and spar a little bit, okay.
All right, so you're implying he's fat. I mean,
I mean he's big. He's still a thick S of a B.
Yeah, he is.
He's still stout. I'm gonna tell you straight up, Mike Tyson's in better shape at 60 than I've ever been in my life. And I used to be in shape. I was never Mike. All right? We all know that. Here's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he's 60. And it's not even that if this was one of those like charity celebrity events and was marketed as such, I honestly might watch it. Really. If it was like one of those charity celebrity matches, I might watch it. But it's not.
You do realize it's free on Netflix, right?
I don't care.
Okay.
It's not the principle of this is, here's another segment I didn't know I was doing, but whatever, shut up. It's important. Here's the principle. The principle is everything that this Jake Paul clown goes out and does is promoted as boxing. And it's not. It's not. There are phenomenal boxing matches taking place. There are still tremendous. Canelo Alvarez just fought like 3 months ago. He's fighting again in like another 3. There are still good, real boxers out there.
You're kicking it worse on purpose because I pointed out that you're making that noise over there.
No, this is, listen, what I'm saying to you right now is of all the things that I say, right now, the thing I am most genuine and sincere about. The problem I have is that there are good boxers fighting legitimate boxing matches out there and doing justice to the sport. And this is getting promoted as on equal footing with that. And it's not.
Like who?
I just told you, Canelo Alvarez. It's got another title fight.
How long has Alvarez been fighting?
A number of years.
How old is he now?
Not 60.
I'm just
promise you he's not 60.
Is he close to 40?
He is still one of the best fighters. Here is the other part.
I'm just curious about his age. That's all. Because age is a thing for you, and I want to know.
Canelo's 34.
Okay, so what age should he stop?
Now, that's not how it works. You can't go, okay, when you hit fit, except with running backs in the NFL. It's not, here's the mark.
You're making it about an age, which means you've got to have in mind a certain age.
Lonzo, I can look at a guy. Hey, find me any 60-year-old anywhere in the history of ever that can go toe-to-toe with Canelo Alvarez. And then here's your exception. But there's not one. There's just not. If the closest you've got...
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Would get his ass beat by Canelo Alvarez.
I don't think so.
Get his ass beat by Canelo Alvarez. I'm sorry. Like, I get it. And this ain't gonna... I get it that if you are close to 60, you don't want to acknowledge that you ain't the same guy you used to be. I'm 40. I ain't the same guy I was at 35.
We're not talking about me. We're talking about Mike Tyson.
No one's
ever going to be Mike Tyson.
No one. at 60 is at the top of their game. That's not an insult. That's just a fact of life.
All right. Let me point something out. You've talked about how Jake Paul is not a boxer. So if he's not really a boxer, why does Tyson have to be at the top of his game to beat an amateur?
He doesn't. It's not about the boxing. It's about the money grab. We all know that what Jake Paul does in these exhibitions is they go out there, they keep it close, they don't do anything, they make a few dozen $1 million by convincing people like you that this is boxing. It's not.
All right. It's not going to cost me any more than my normal Netflix subscription to watch this.
Okay.
It will cost me a little bit of time. I got plenty of time because I'm old.
I don't give a damn about your money in this situation. I don't.
Then why'd you say you?
Because it's the royal you. The tip of the cap you, as in everybody. Because there is this sport that I love. This art, this science, this sport that I love. And I want it to be promoted in its best form. And this ain't it. This isn't boxing. This is a way to make. I don't care about your Netflix payment. Cool. That's great. What I care about is that these dudes are going to go out there, put on a half-ass exhibition between a guy who refuses to fight real boxers and a 60-year-old grandfather, and then they are going to promote it as the sport. It's not. It's not. It's not the sport. There are so many great fighters and boxers out there that are putting on genuine great contest in this sport. And instead of the world focusing on the best boxers doing the best boxing and putting the sport's beauty on display, I got a YouTube star and a grandfather, and that's getting the promotion. And I will not. Let me say first, the folks that I criticize the most about this, it's not Lonzo who's going to watch this fight. It's not Wesley who's in here trolling me with a countdown to Tyson. That you guys aren't the problem here. The problem is boxing itself. The problem is that boxing has created this world where stuff like this works, right?
Isn't the problem also the next generation of fans who you feel are fooled by this guy? And so you're upset that these people are interested in boxing because of Jake Paul. And you don't feel like it's legitimate fandom because they're not watching real boxing.
If a snake oil salesman rolls into town and tricks the town through con artistry, I don't get mad at the town. I get mad at the con artist.
And how old are you going with snake oil salesman? I mean,
I've watched a Western in my time.
I mean, how many people get that reference?
I don't get mad at the snake oil salesman for conning. I don't get mad at the town for being conned. I get mad at the snake oil salesman for conning. This is why I have aggression towards Paul and Tyson. And for the record, towards promoters in boxing. Because promoters have made it harder to make money with the great element of the sport because they'd rather put on the spectacle. And it's convinced the next generation of fans, this is Jake Paul, YouTube star, is boxing. No, it's not.
In the end, I just want to see Jake Paul get punched in the face by Mike Tyson. Whether he knocks him out or not, to me, I think I win by seeing that. And I don't see why you don't see that either.
Because what happens is Jake Paul's going to make $70 million and then he's going to go away for a couple months and then he's going to come back and he's going to be like, next up, I got Evander Holyfield. I don't care.
America.
I don't
America.
freaking
capitalism,
care.
Baby.
Sometimes capitalism's stupid, like when Jake Paul gets rich. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with things you care about on the Fan Upstate. Jacob, he's not going to get the bleep knocked out of him.
Oh, sure he will.
No, he's not.
He may not get knocked out, but it's going to hurt.
It's a bet. He's not. Nobody's going to sleep.
It's not going to hurt him at all. So he's going to pull his punches. He's never going to connect. He's just going to dance the entire time. It's going to hurt.
This is like going to watch a movie and be like, I bet Iron Man gets beat up in this.
It's not.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's not.
It might look like he is.
It's not.
But
it's not.
fake.
It's not anything
it's
like
a television
that.
show.
Yeah, so is wrestling, but you still watch it.
Yes, and you know what I don't do? Treat it like it's real. You know what this is like?
So you're saying wrestlers don't get hurt, they don't get
No,
hit?
is that what I said? No. What I said
Well, you
was
basically
if
said
are
it about this
treated
fight.
as if it is an authentic sporting competition. If somebody came in and said, these guys are just as good as Olympic Greco-Roman wrestling, you'd be like, shut up. No, they're not.
Some of them are. Chad Gable, Kurt Angle.
Yeah, and what did all of those guys do? Actually wrestle. They
Okay.
actually did the thing.
Okay, that was piercing, by the way.
Good. You deserved it.
No, I don't. I do not.
You
You're right.
did this, Wesley, by the way.
You're right, Jacob. Iron Man did eventually die.
Spoiler alert.
I'm excited for Exodus Tyson, Miguel Tyson, Milan Tyson, Morocco Tyson, and Mickey Tyson. All grandkids who get to see Grandpa fight. That's awesome.
I'm almost to the point now where I hope Mike Tyson gets knocked out.
Although
Mickey
won't understand because he's only 3. But the youngest one, oh no, he died. Never mind. The next one, Miguel, was born in 2002. That means 22. Getting to watch Pops throw some punches. What in the world is that? Oh, those are cheese sticks. Okay. Thought they were hot dogs. They put a bunch of cheese sticks on like a waffle griddle.
I saw that last night.
And then they put
Uh-huh.
sauce and
Yep.
yeah, that's what the internet's really good for, is to see
Random crap.
food things like that. How often do you see those and actually try them though?
My Instagram saved. I've created like a saved folder that's just recipes that I want to try, and then I have a secondary folder that if I make it and I like it, it moves over there to keep it. And there's probably 30 or 40.
Look at that.
The Dorito burger came from Instagram. What was the one I made? The Philly cheesesteak egg rolls came off of Instagram, which I made a couple of weeks ago, and actually probably will make again this week.
Fat Joe is trendy, but I'm not going to use it since you've already talked about Fat Joe. I don't want to go watch the performance because I'm sure you aptly described it.
Also, there was clearly a spot in there somewhere where he like went off script and got bananas because he was like midway through a song and then it just like cut to black for like a second and then it jumped ahead like 8 seconds of the performance and I'm like, oh, he got dump buttoned. He clearly screwed up and got dump buttoned. Watching the World Series last night, and there was a spot in the game that I was absolutely blown away by. There was a spot in this game where Giancarlo Stanton was on second base, and there was a fly out to left field. Teoscar Hernandez is all-star caliber left fielder. Stanton's coming around from second to third. Stanton is rounding third. And the third base coach is enthusiastically waving him around. Go on home, young man. Get that run. I'm watching this happen last night. And I got to tell you, it genuinely might be the funniest thing that I've ever seen.
Hooks it into left field. That's down for a base hit. Here comes Stanton. Here comes Hernandez's throw. It is in time. Perfectly thrown.
So here's the thing. Teoscar Hernandez absolutely launched a bleep missile from left field to home plate. It would have challenged a good runner. I don't know if any of you have seen this so far. I don't know that any of you have watched this. I'm going to play this one time on the stream because that's all we're allowed to. Lonzo, I'd like you to keep an eye on Giancarlo Stanton running from second to third after he gets waved around. And I'd like you to give me your thoughts on him as a knee-jerk reaction.
Hooks it into left field. That's down for a base hit. Here comes Stanton. Here comes Hernandez's throw. It is in time. Perfect.
So the video didn't work.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It
wasn't great.
Yeah.
Point is, he's real slow. Okay.
It was so slow it made the video stop.
The thing is, it looked like the video was stopped. It wasn't. That's just how slow he is. All right. That was real time.
I have seen several posts on X about this little kid being taught how to
doing
run
the slow motion thing
and comparing it to that. So
yeah, it was. I've never seen anything like it. They waved this cat from second to home. He ran. When I tell you, here was my honest, real time in my head gut check reaction. Third base coach is waving the arm. Stanton turns third, starts rounding home. He's about halfway between third and home when the ball passes him to get to home plate. And in my head, I genuinely thought, oh, he must have thought the ball got out to the wall. He's just loafing. He's just jogging. Nope, turns out that's all the speed he's got. He was chugging as fast as he could. And you know how sometimes when you watch sports, great one? You watch sports and you see an athlete screw up and in your head you can't help as a bro but go, I could do that. Come on, dude, you're a pro athlete and I could do that. Field goal kicker misses an extra point and every dude in America watching goes, I could go hit an extra point, right? Or a baseball player slides in and overslides the bag and gets tagged out and you're like, you overslid the bag. I could do that. What? I could. Dude, I mean this. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that as a 39 3/4-year-old, fat, out of shape piece of trash human being that I am, I genuinely think I could beat Giancarlo Stanton in a race today. Like not like haha funny bad at. Go. I'm going to send you the clip, great one, so you can watch it on your computer in real time. I'm not kidding when I tell you. I'm not joking haha funny. I mean, genuinely, I think I could beat Giancarlo Stanton in a race.
Are there still a ton of fat guys in baseball who can't run?
There are.
Kill it when they hit the ball?
There are fat guys in baseball, for sure. And every one of them faster than Giancarlo Stanton, who's not a fat guy. He's big, and he's for the record. When we talked about old guys earlier,
is he a long strider?
No, I just sent you the video. By the way, also 34 years of age. I am 5 years older than Giancarlo Stanton, who is an old man in baseball terms. I'm going to give him that. He's old, and he's never been a speed guy. He's a power guy. You don't have to run the bases quickly when you send the ball 19 rows deep into right field. All right? But straight up, I watched him round third and head home last night and immediately had the thought, I think I'm faster than G. I think today, y'all, when I tell you, I haven't sprinted in probably 2-3 years at this point, like a full out actual second to home sprint in 2 or 3 years right now. I think I'm faster. Now, I bring it up. Has it showed up yet?
Yeah. How is he out when the ball got knocked out of the glove?
The ball didn't get knocked out of the glove.
Why is it on the ground?
It may have gotten dropped because it was the last out of the inning and the catcher just dropped it.
No, I don't see. Well, there's a ball laying there, and I don't see it in his glove.
Did I may have sent you the wrong clip. Because no.
Yeah, because
Will Smith made the tag, and then he just stands there with the ball. Are you sure it wasn't a mask or something?
No, there's a ball laying there by the plate, dude. I'm looking at it.
I think we might need to get Lonzo glasses. Because no, there's not. Let me see. In fact, let me watch it again. But Will Smith makes a tag. No, there's not a ball laying by the plate.
It was my cursor. Well, it is white. You know, I didn't have to admit it, but it was the cursor.
You know, I first and foremost, I respect the hell out of you admitting it, because I would have taken that to the grave.
This senior moment brought to you by Geritol. Geritol, when you're not feeling regular.
I would have taken that to the. I wouldn't have told my wife that. I wouldn't have. You know, sometimes I have secrets that I'll tell my dog when nobody else is home so that I can at least get it off my chest, right? I'm like, Remy, come here, have a seat. I need to talk to you about something. And I'll tell my dog the secret so that I can get it out there without having to be, judged by other human beings. And then there are some things that I won't even tell my dog. I respect that you owned that. No, it wasn't a ball on the ground. It was my cursor on the computer screen.
This senior moment brought to you by The Villages.
I had a whole thing about Giancarlo Stanton here, but
he is he's slow and he's chugging. I mean, he's doing his best, Rob.
I can't talk about Giancarlo Stanton's age now when Lonzo just had that moment. And for the record, I think that happens to everybody. You're like, what is that? How does what did it? Oh, it's my mouth.
By the way, it's white, and it was just the cursor, the hand was right there in a perfect spot where when he did this, it looked like the ball was sitting there.
I waited up. I was having a whole ass panic attack right there. I'm like, did I miss? Did Major League Baseball miss the most important thing to happen in that game? They missed a couple of calls last night that were game influencing. All right. There was a strikeout on a walk that would have scored, or a walk on a strikeout. There was a strikeout on a walk that would have scored one. There was a strikeout with the tying run on first base for the Yankees. Like, there was a lot, but none of that missed quite as much as Lonzo thinking his mouse on the screen was the ball that came out on a clean tag at the house. I appreciate you acknowledging it. Well done.
It was perfect. It was in the perfect spot, and I didn't touch it, so it just stayed there. And okay, you're right. I didn't have to admit
I applaud you owning it. I really do. All right, so here was the point of where we were going there. Let me get Lonzo off the hook here. The point of where I'm going.
I messed up, dude. I'm okay. I'm all right. I'll mess up again, several times before the day is out.
The honest problem here is that the Yankees are not as good as the Dodgers. On paper, on talent on paper, the Dodgers are a better baseball team, which means that in order for the Yankees to have one, because they can't win it now, they're not winning 4 in a row on LA. For the Yankees to have won, they had to get one of the two on the road at LA. They failed to do both. And then they would have needed to take all 3. And in order for that to happen, the Yankees had to play the best baseball they've played all year and have flawless decision-making. And if I have got a third base coach who waved around a 34-year-old, which in baseball years might as well be 60, wave that guy around and do so to challenge a left fielder who is known for having a rocket launcher of an arm to get him tagged out in a game where every run matters, the Yankees have made, going back to game 1, pulling Garrett Cole after 84 pitches when he was dominating that game, all the way up till Giancarlo getting tagged out and ruining the momentum the Yankees had been building to that point. It is on the Yankees players, because I got Aaron Judge, who's 1 for 12 with 7 strikeouts in this World Series. That's not good enough. I got Juan Soto, whose stat line ain't a whole hell of a lot better. I got Giancarlo Stanton, who's batting 200 through these playoffs. There's a lot of problems going on, but if the players are doing that, and I've got Aaron Boone's staff, who is yanking an ace 84 pitches deep when he's dicing the Dodgers at that point in game one, and I got them making decisions like sending 34-year-old Giancarlo Stanton home around third to challenge a left fielder who is known for doing that. You're coaching yourself out of a World Series. You needed to be perfect, and you're coaching yourself out of one.
As a uber baseball fan, are you disappointed that this is going to be a sweep?
Yes.
Because then baseball is over.
Yes. No, it's not that baseball's over. I know baseball's over. Welcome to life. Good things end. And good things have to end to make room for good things. That's I accept it. It sucks that we're about to go on a 150 whatever day it is run with no baseball as a baseball fan. Yeah, that's a bummer. But I'm good with it. The reason I'm bummed is you have two of, if not the two, most recognizable historic franchises in all of the sport globally that just lined it up for a championship series. You cannot have a series that matters more than this. And one of those teams forgot to show up. This was supposed to be a clash of the Titans. And instead we get whatever the hell this is.
So you're upset for the sport because you think so many eyes were on it and are getting a sweep, not a competitive series.
I don't think so many eyes were on it. Games 1 and 2 averaged almost 15 million viewers. That is the best World Series start since 2017 and one of, I think, the 3 best in this decade so far. Scratch that. One of the 3 best in this millennium so far. And we're getting this?
Having large viewing markets with both teams helps.
100%. Having the not just large, the 2 largest. New York is the number 1 net television market in America. Los Angeles is number 2. The numbers are inflated, but they are also helped by the fact that if you're a fringe baseball fan, you know the history of the Dodgers, you know the history of the Yankees. We spent all year celebrating it because these 2 teams were back. And you add all of that on top of the fact that I truly believe that Major League Baseball had the best postseason overall, wild card to World Series, the best postseason maybe of my lifetime, and it's going to get capped off by this. And I'm not even mad that it's a sweep. What I'm mad about is that the Yankees won't stop slamming their own groin in the door in order to make it a sweep. That's my problem. Stupid decision, and the star's not showing up. This star shows up. Lonzo with a sports flash.
Let me get my cursor out of the way. Week 8 of the NFL season came to a close last night with a 26-18 Pittsburgh victory over the Giants. Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson went 20 of 28 for 278 yards and a touchdown, and Najee Harris ran for 114 yards. A controversial call kept George Pickens off the scoreboard as a catch in the end zone was ruled incomplete when his right foot touched the ground twice, but his left foot did not. Carolina Hurricanes defeated the Vancouver Canucks 4-3 last night. In overtime, Sebastian Aho, Will Carrier, Martin Necas, and Jack Ruslovic had goals in the victory. Biggest game in college football this weekend will take place in Pennsylvania when number 3 Penn State hosts number 4 Ohio State. Penn State head coach James Franklin said yesterday that Nittany Lions quarterback Drew Auer's status will be a game-time decision. Tune in this Saturday at noon as Fern Paladins take on the VMI Keydets right here on The Fan, Upstate.
It is critical that we have a free and fair election to ensure every voice is heard. Despite the damage, early voting centers are open. To learn your voting options, go to hurricanerelief.gop. That's hurricanerelief.gop. Or call the North Carolina Republican Party's election assistance hotline at 828-209-9797 to learn about your early voting rights or to report any voting process concerns. That's 828-209-9797.
The Republican National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by the Republican National Committee and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.gop.com.
Looking for the perfect fall weekend plan? Head over to the Bohemian Bowl on Helen Road for their all-you-can-eat oyster roasts every Saturday in November from 12 to 3 p.m. It's just $25 for endless fresh oysters while you catch all the football action on their multiple TVs. Bring your friends, grab a drink, and enjoy the perfect combo of oysters and day-day vibes. That's every Saturday in November at the Bohemian Bowl, 3620 Helen Road. Get your shuck on, and we'll see you there.
Don't miss the fall savings sale where you'll save big store-wide and pay no interest until November.
Diggs, what's up, buddy? Yeah, but you know what I'm not doing, Jacob? I'm not sending Freddie Freeman second home against Teoscar Hernandez.
Tune in this week to Kickoff with Boomer and Valenti, where they break down all the headlines in the NFL. Presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on their iPhone 16 Pro.
Odyssey and the Salvation Army are partnering to help provide aid to hurricane relief survivors. Your donation provides emergency aid, food, water, and long-term recovery. 100% of your gift goes directly to disaster relief. No administration fees. If donations exceed current needs, excess funds will support future disaster services. Join us in bringing hope and help to those affected during this unprecedented time. Donate now at rebuildcarolinas.org. That's rebuildcarolinas.org.
This is an ad by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Everyone, it's Boomer Esiason. What's something that you've always wanted to learn? An instrument, a new language, how not to burn pasta. Whether it's big or small, imagine how great it would feel to finally do it. As kids, we're always learning and growing, but as adults, sometimes we lose.
Yes, Nestor Cortez coming in was another terrible decision. He's good last night, but it wasn't that Nestor Cortez came in game 2. It was Nestor Cortez came in, or in game 1, it was Cortez came in instead of Tim Hill, who had been dominant, which I did not understand.
So why not rediscover possibility with BetterHelp? Visit BetterHelp.com/Boomer today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Boomer. The Fan.
Upstate.
QC, first break.
Channel 4.
W246CB Spartanburg. And Odyssey Sports Edition.
Man, check this out.
You're an official Rob Brown Lowdown.
Yeah.
Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. He's no Rob Brown.
Ah, well, I missed my window. Hi, guys! Welcome back to the Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Hour numero dos underway right now. Great to have you. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, master of mouses, on the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM. Renewal by Anderson to the Carolinas fan phone open for you, 844-FANFONE. That is 844-326-3663. The text line is open at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We will read them on the show. You can tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet the great one at Lonzo on Word. You can tweet everybody up in here at the Fan Upstate on X. You can shoot me an email if you got something to say that's too long, but you don't want to get on the air. Rob.brown at thefanupstate.com. Rob.brown at thefanupstate.com. And you can use the Ray Memorial Hotline. Go to the Odyssey app, AUDACY, AUDACY. Go to the Fan Upstate page. Just search the Fan Upstate. Click on the little heart icon, like the Fan Upstate. And then when you get to the Fan Upstate page, there's a little circle button right in the middle. Little circle button's got a little microphone cartoon thing, illustration, picture, whatever in it. Click on that, and you can leave a 60-second voice note that goes directly to the great one and I, which we can listen to, play back on air, respond to, etc., etc., etc. Only available on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Grab it, put it on all your digital devices, and leave us a memo on the Ray Memorial Hotline. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to get into as we roll through the world of sports. And there's a very good chance if you're listening to this show as a member of the Armada, that when you get to work today, you're going to want to talk sports. That's natural. It's fun. It's engaging. In fact, for some people, it's the only way to get through the show. And if that is the case, you need to know what's going on in the world of sports. And if you need to know what's going on in the world of sports, I have wonderful news for you, my dear friend. You've come to the right place. And you've done so at the right time because we do this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
No way!
Before they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports this lovely Tuesday morning. Let's dive right in with item numero uno. The Dodgers are now 27 outs away from claiming the 2024 Major League Baseball World Series championship. A 4-2 dub last night over the New York Yankees. They chased Yankees pitcher Clark Schmidt after just 2.2 innings. He only gave up a couple of hits, but he gave up 3 runs. All of them earned, 4 walks in that period, through 68 pitches through 2.2 innings. The Dodgers were making Clark Schmidt work. They would have to go after Schmidt through 8 more pitchers to get through the game, as only 3 of them were able to throw at least 1 complete inning. On the flip side, Walker Buehler, who was abso-freaking-lutely the question mark on the Dodgers rotation, takes to the bump in game 3 and throws a 5-inning gem. 2 hits allowed, no runs, only 2 walks, K'd 5 before giving way to Gratterall, who would clean up the 5th inning, The Dodgers were excellent off the bump behind Walker Buehler last night. From the bump, or from the dish, I can do this. Shohei Ohtani, 1 of 3. Freddie Freeman, 1 of 3. But that 1 of 3 was a first inning dinger that cleaned up the bag. Shohei got on with a hit. Freddie knocked him and Freddie around with a 2-run shot in the first inning. There were only 5 hits for the Dodgers last night. In fact, the Dodgers had 5. So did the Yankees. But the Dodgers' 5 were impactful. Freddie had the 2-run shot in the first inning. The Dodgers never looked back. They would add 1 more in the 3rd, 1 more in the 6th to give themselves a 4-0 lead heading into the bottom of the 9th. The Yankees would get a couple courtesy of a Verdugo dinger off of Michael Kopech with 1 on. That was both of the Yankees' runs. They could not find anything else to level the score in the bottom of the 9th. And just like that, the LA Dodgers are up 3-0 on the New York Yankees and are on the verge of a sweep. Of course, there are 2 more games consecutively in the Bronx. The Dodgers can put it away with a sweep this evening if they are able to get the better of the Yankees tonight. What we know as of right now, Luis Gil will be going for the Yankees, and it looks like it's going to be a bullpen game for the Dodgers. They have not released a starter yet, leads me to believe that it will be a bullpen game, and that is my expectation. If the Yankees are going to climb back in, I don't think that they can just win tonight. I think they have to dominate tonight. I think that they have to you're down 3-0. Even if you win this game 15-0, the momentum is still with the Dodgers, just needing one of the next 4. But if the Yankees want any chance at all, they have got to completely throw a wrench in the system tonight. I don't think it's enough to win the game. I think they have to kill the Dodgers tonight. And I just don't think that they have it in them, unfortunately. We'll see how it goes. Game number 4 with a sweep on the line is tonight in New York City, 8:08 first pitch. Bullpen game for the Dodgers. Luis Gil for the Yankees is your pitching matchup. Let's go to item number 2. Week 8 of the National Football League is now in the books after a Monday nighter last night between the Giants and the Steelers, and it was all Pittsburgh. 26-18, your final should have been more than that. A controversial call on a George Pickens no touchdown catch. Pickens went up, caught the ball, touched his right foot inbounds, then touched his right foot inbounds again. But, and I find this very interesting, Lonzo. I got real curious about it. I thought, okay, they ruled it a touchdown. They pulled it off the board. They said he did not get the second foot down. I said, wait a minute. He did get 2 feet down. I mean, he got 1 foot down 2 times. So I went and looked it up. The rule on that catch, Great One, states, quote, both feet, end quote. Not 2 feet, not 8 foot 2 times. Both feet must be in bounds. It does not matter if you toe tap and then toe tap again with the right foot or the left foot. Both the right and the left foot must come down. It was a controversial call,
but why is it
that the refs got right?
So that surprise you? Because I've always understood it was both feet.
I have always understood it to be both feet, but I have also understood it to be, and incorrectly so now, I learned last night, it was 2 body parts or 2 contacts. I kind of was working under. Clearly now I know.
I believe that has to be on 2 sides. It's not like, I mean, well, no.
Honestly, I never knew, right? Here's my thing. And this is why, to me, it is interesting. Because if a player catches the ball, and let's say is on the sideline, and he goes down, and his left knee hits in bounds, but nothing else, we consider that complete, right?
Yeah, because
the feet are the only part of the body which requires 2. Right. Everything else, 1 is good enough.
Right.
And while it makes sense because the rule is both feet, and we all know that, obviously, it's 1 foot at college, 2 in the pros. While the rule is both feet, and we know that, I've never actively seen that before. I've always kind of worked under the assumption that, well, yeah, if a guy touches the same foot twice, that's the same as 2 feet. Turns out it's not, because the rule is not 2 feet must touch. Because I think if you had a good attorney, you could make the argument that 1 foot twice is 2 feet. It is a foot, but that foot touched twice, that is 2 feet touching the ground, even if it's 1 foot. You can make the argument. But the rule doesn't say 2 feet. The rule says both feet must touch in bounds. Again, if a guy hits and it's 1 elbow, I believe that would count. If a guy hits and it's 1 hand, I believe that would count. 1 shoulder, I believe that would count. 1 booty cheek, I believe that would count. The foot's the only thing you got to have 2 of. And I didn't know that till last night. I'm not like, and so we're clear. This is not me arguing it, right? This is not me saying this. Very clearly, they applied the rule correctly. It's just I've never had, at least that I can remember.
Never seen anyone tap their foot down twice.
Right.
I've never seen that.
Right.
So I've been around longer than you, and I'm sure some other people said the same thing. I have never seen that. So.
Lonzo actually said a minute ago, he said, I thought it was 3 feet, but the third one was in my mouse.
It only works when it's organic, man. I mean, you know.
Listen, we all know I'm going to say something dumb by the end of the show that's going to get me nailed to the wall. So I might as well juice it while I can.
I wasn't going to do anything, but if you continue to press.
It's just that one.
Okay.
It's just that one.
All right.
It was just that one. Like
we can do this. If
like
that's
you
what
don't
you
call me out when I do dumb things.
Well, I try to save you from them is what I try to do.
In all the years I've watched football, NFL football, I don't think I've ever seen the double 1 foot tap before. I'm not saying it's never happened. I'm just saying I don't think I've ever seen it before. And that I've never seen the double tap 1 foot. I don't think I've ever seen the rule actually applied all the way. Either way, it doesn't matter. Russell Wilson and the Steelers get the win. Wilson did finish 20 of 28, 278 yards, and a touchdown. The Steelers only had 9 points, 3 field goals at the end of the first half. But they had like 225 total rushing yards. Part of that because Najee Harris had a day, boy, with 19 totes, 114 yards, an average of 6 yards per carry. They had 167 on the ground in total. Did the Pittsburgh Steelers last night. 220 plus yards of offense in the first half, just 9 points to show for it. At the end of the second quarter, the score was 9-9. And it was like, maybe the Russell Wilson thing was just a 1 week phenomenon. Maybe Russ just had one good day because the legs were fresher than anybody else, and there was no tape out on what the 2024 Russell Wilson looked like. Russell Wilson was good last night. Not exceptional, not great, not Pro Bowl, not blowing anybody away, but for what he was expected to be, I think he was what was expected of him last night. And I think the Steelers' decision about whether or not to go back to Justin Fields got a little easier yesterday.
Yeah, Giants will make anyone look good, though.
That's also true. I think it is absolutely fair to ask the question when the Steelers get back to it next weekend. I think it is fair to once again ask the question. That is 2 good games in a row, but it was against the state of New York. The Jets stink and the Giants stink. You know who they got this weekend? On the road. No, excuse me. They're off this week. You know who they got next weekend? Which is good. They got the bye week. Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. Then we'll find out if Russell Wilson's the real deal or if he just got lucky in his first 2 games being against a pair of hot garbage teams. Either way, Steelers get the dub last night. 26-18 is your final. Let's move on to item number 3. This is purely coincidence, but I do think it's both of them are worthy of being talked about. Lonzo, it's a big weekend in collegiate football. It's a big weekend upcoming specifically in your conference, the Biggest Ten. The Big Ten has 2 interesting quarterback stories that are developing right now. The first comes out of the University of Michigan. Quarterback Jack Tuttle announced yesterday that he is medically retiring from football. The 7th-year senior played in 2 games for the Wolverines this season with 1 start during the offseason. Tuttle underwent surgery to repair the ulnar collateral ligament, the UCL, in his throwing arm. He said yesterday that the arm never fully recovered and that he has continued to have ongoing issues with it. Tuttle also said he recently suffered the 5th concussion of his career and that one, quote, brought forth the painful truth that I need to start prioritizing my health. The Utah to Indiana to Michigan transfer came to Michigan in 2023, backed up J.J. McCarthy, was part of the Wolverines' undefeated national championship team, but was expected to be the starter this year for the Wolverines, had a series of injuries that torpedoed his opportunity to get that job. Michigan has, of course, rotated through quarterbacks. Davis Warren was named the starter. He got replaced by Alex Orji. Yes, that is his real name. Shut up, stop laughing. Tuttle finally got his opportunity on October 5th when he relieved Orji, shut up, during a 27-17 loss at Washington. Tuttle started the following week, but the Wolverines got knocked down by Illinois. He finishes the year with 306 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. But that, dear friends, that is the second most interesting quarterback story out of the Big Ten. The first most interesting story about a quarterback out of the Big Ten is one that directly involves Lonzo. and the Ohio State University Buckeyes, because they have one of two, because you may have heard about my dog, Kurt Signetti.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
The Hoosiers hanging out waiting for the Buckeyes at the end of the year, but between here and there is another challenge waiting for Ryan Day and his Buckeyes. That, of course, is James Franklin and his Pennsylvania State University Nittany Lions. And this one's up in Happy Valley. Bad news for the Buckeyes. Good news for the Buckeyes. Maybe we'll find out on Saturday. Is that Penn State quarterback Drew Aller is up in the air in terms of his status. Suffered a left knee injury late in the first half of Saturday's 28-13 win on the road at Wisconsin. He tried to play in the second half, came out, went through the warm-ups, but told James Franklin he did not think he could be effective enough playing through the injury. So they went to the backup there, Aller, in the second half. And Aller said he would find out if he's good for Saturday. Well, yesterday, James Franklin gave us the update, and the update is you'll get an update during game time on Saturday. Drew Aller is a game time decision. James Franklin did say, hey, look, if he's not 100%, there's a chance that we could potentially end up giving snaps to both he and Bo Pribula, who is the backup quarterback there. But that quote, the timeline will go all the way up to the game. So what may be the largest remaining obstacle between here and the end of the year, because I do love me an Indiana Hoosier. Hoosier! Without Drew Aller, Penn State's probably in a bit of trouble.
You want your best to play their best. I mean, that's always better. So I hope he's well enough to play.
I mean, so
there are no excuses. I know there is a player who is playing on the defensive side.
We're going to talk about that coming up on the show very shortly, because we got to start. It's Tuesday. We start turning our eyes towards Saturdays on Tuesdays. There's no off days on the Rob Brown Show. When we come back here in a minute, got a couple of things I want to get about. A little bit of sound from around the internet that we're going to get down to on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Alonso and you.
Was that better than Fat Joe?
I got to tell you, it was bumps right up to it. The Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, live reading. We're back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you.
New life next break.
New life next break. Texter says, loving all this Hoosier love. Coach Sig, smoke him if you got him. Hoosier. I love college football. We all love college football. It's why we're here. Monday through Friday, 6 to 10 on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. And, of course, with Bill Ryder and Ryder Than You from 10 to noon, and then Jim Rome from noon to 3. And then, of course, Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson every afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. We all love collegiate football. It's the best. But, and I've made this argument before. In fact, I didn't know I was going to do this here, but why not? We're just making this whole show up as we go. You know why I love college football? I love college football because of the people in college football. I told you the story earlier this week of this. There was an Instagram reel I came across because I'm a 15-year-old girl. I came across this Instagram reel from the Florida State game last weekend where there was a Florida State fan that was up in the stands. Just a regular dude. No shirt on, but he had on a headset. And he was holding up a Waffle House menu, reading it off of it as if it was calling plays. And there was a video of a guy and his girlfriend. And the girlfriend was like, why isn't that coach wearing a shirt? The guy was like, he's not a coach. He's just a fan. And the lady was like, is he calling plays off of a Waffle House menu? And the guy said, well, he's not calling plays because he's not a coach. He's a fan. And she's like, that just seems real weird. And the guy said, that's why I love college football. And that's true. Now, I love football. I love the game. I will always be in on the game of college football. But I do think it is important that we accept that if you just want to watch the best football, that's the NFL. In fact, there's a comedian by the name of Cole Klayman who filmed a Instagram reel from the front seat of his car that went viral. And it started this war between NFL and college fans. Here's what Clay had to say.
If you think college football is better than the NFL, you are not a serious person. You're not. Okay, now, if you like the tailgating and the atmosphere and you went to this college or you live in a state that doesn't have an NFL team, okay. But if you think what's going on the field is any bit comparable, you are a child. I'm sorry, you are, okay? And look, college football, the quarterback play has never been better, and it's still abysmal. It's horrible. It's like, let me ask you, if I want to go see a movie, do I go watch the local school production or do I go watch Denzel Washington? It's not even close. I'd rather watch some guy who this hit determines whether or not he's going to be able to feed his children than some kid who's just trying to hang out with a cheerleader after the game. It is the most ridiculous argument on earth is saying a college team can beat the worst NFL team. That is the most insane thing I've heard a human being say.
So that's Cole Klayman. He's a comedian on the internet. And here's the thing. He's right. He's being a little harsh. Right? He's being a little mean about it, but he's not wrong. Football's just better at the NFL level. It's just a better game in terms of performance on the field at the NFL level. That's not why we love college football, or at least that's not why I love college football. I can't say we. I love college football because of the pageantry. I love it because of the tradition. I love it because of the show. I love it because of all these things. And oh, by the way, it is, for the most part, at least at the highest level, pretty good college football, pretty good game of football. Kurt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers are my favorite story in college football right now. And I'm going to say this. If you had the exact same football team with the exact same record against the exact same opponents this year, but they were coached by the college football version of Bill Belichick, somebody that's dry and buttoned down and what we in the wrestling business would call a charisma vacuum. If you had this exact same team coached by that guy, I would not be all on board with, quote, all this Hoosier love. I would. I love this story because Curt Cignetti.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
Makes it fun. That's why. There's no other reason. Because it's fun. It's fun to watch this guy grab a mic and say, Purdue sucks. Oh, and Michigan and Ohio State suck too. That's Indiana. That's not Georgia's coach saying that. That's not the coach of some nationally recognized and historic football powerhouse. That's Indiana. That's the basketball school, that famously has a basketball. Well, it's not Indiana, it's Sycamore, but you get it. The movie's called Hoosiers. They're called the Hoosiers. That's a basketball school. That's a basketball city. It's a basketball state. And yet, here's Curt Cignetti. Now, obviously, I think there's another element to this. Part of the thing that is interesting about this is that when you go out there and you act like Curt Cignetti is acting, of which I am a big fan. When you act like that, Zoe, what happens when you get your ass whipped?
He'll pay for some of the things he said. We haven't seen that happen yet.
Nope.
So if it does happen, we'll see how he handles it.
We haven't seen it happen with Curt Cignetti. We have seen it happen in sports where somebody is brash and outspoken and dare I say, cocky kid. That's a Star Wars reference. And then they lose. And what happens? The public goes bananas letting them know about it.
They could very well lose to Michigan State.
Absolutely.
And then they got Michigan, then they got Ohio State, and then they have Purdue.
They got all the teams that Curt Cignetti stood on a basketball court when he got hired away from James Madison University and say, you suck. They got them all lined up still. There's absolutely. That being said, it is fun to me when you get a coach with a personality like Curt Cignetti. I am not following the Indiana Hoosiers because I'm super duper excited about the Indiana Hoosiers.
The playoffs start today.
They're in.
Well, also, Big Ten championship right now would still be Indiana and Penn State right now.
Not only are they in, they're in with a good opportunity because if it is Penn State, it's effectively whoever wins this weekend, I think that is going, unless it's Ohio State and then they lose to Indiana, in which case Ohio State would not be going, at least not to the Big Ten championship game. Indiana right now is on the inside track to play for a Big Ten title, which would mean not just a Big Ten title they're playing for, it's also a bye in the first round.
I forgot about Oregon. My bad. Oregon's also.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. We got to get there. Right now, it's Indiana, it's Penn State, and it's Oregon. It's a 3-horse race, and there's still a round robin of games that have to take place. So, Curt Cignetti makes this interesting. Curt Cignetti makes this fun. I'm diving in to Indiana football because of the brash, the outlandish, the character that is Curt Cignetti. And that is what we love about college football. That's why this is fun to me. That's why I'm all in, because every time when Curt Cignetti is on game day, I'm tuning in. When Curt Cignetti is on whatever, Sports Center or ESPN or Sirius XM or whatever, when it comes across my Twitter feed that Curt Cignetti is going to be on a microphone, I'm tuning in. It's like, not as much anymore, but it was like back in the day whenever WWE would put up an advertisement that says CM Punk on the mic tonight. It's like, oh, well, obviously I'm skipping everything else to see that because you don't know what the hell's going to happen. So-and-so, I'm in because of who they are when they talk. That's Curt Cignetti. And I also know that if and when Curt Cignetti loses a game, all the Big Ten fans that he said your school sucks are going to be piling on. That's fun for me too. I'm a big Indiana guy right now because I like this. It's fun. It's pageantry. It's brash. And I'm all in for that. But there's also the reality that we love watching the prideful fall here in America. And Kurt's kind of tiptoeing that line. But, Texter, to answer your question, I want you to know right now, week in, week out, on the hierarchy of teams that I'm going out of my way to pay attention to what they're doing, the Hoosiers are at the top of the list. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, one more live and we're back. Stay right there for me, please. I was going to do this later in the show, but this actually rolls pretty well into what I wanted to talk about, or what we just talked about, I guess I should say. We talked about in the last segment about the pride cometh before the fall, right? We talked about in the last segment about Curt Cignetti, who I am very on the bandwagon for right now. I have had a ton of fun following Dan Orlovsky, and I'm intrigued with it, both because of how much fun it is to follow Curt Cignetti, who is right now, I would argue, the best character in college football. I mean, honestly, like, respectfully, Kirby Smart's boring, right? Kalen DeBoer is boring. Granted, like, he's a fun coach, but Bama right now ain't Bama, so that's boring. I mean, I guess I'm kind of entertained by the drama around Ryan Day right now at Ohio State. But outside of that, like, most of the coaches and most of the characters in college football are kind of boring. In fact, I would go one step further and say, as far as personality goes, and great, when you're welcome to disagree if you want here, as are you out there in the Armada. As far as college football goes, there's really not a lot of personalities out there right now, outside of the media, right? Like, outside of the hot take artists who are trying to get attention in the media. What players right now, aside from maybe the 2 or 3 at Colorado, right? Deion's boys, Prime's guys. Outside of Colorado, which players right now have a personality that you're drawn to? The only one that pops into my head, off the top of my head, is Ashton Jeanty at Boise State, who, by the way, only had like 123 rushing yards this past weekend against UNLV. Only 123. Outside of Ashton Jeanty, what players right now are guys that you can't wait to see them lace it up this weekend? I don't think there really are. When it comes to coaches, even Nick Saban, when Nick Saban was in the midst of the dynasty, Saban's a pretty buttoned up guy, but even Saban in the midst of his dynasty was must-watch television, because whether it was in an interview or on the sideline, you never knew when you were going to get pop it off angry Nick Saban. That was part of the personality. Right now, I think college football has a bit of a personality program. Texter says Dabo has a personality. I mean, yeah, but like, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I really like Dabo Swinney. He's never been anything but kind to me. This is not a disrespectful thing, although some of you take it that way. Dabo's entertaining, I think, if you're a Clemson fan or if you're covering the team. But I'm going to tell you, like, there's no drive for me when I hear Dabo's got a mic that makes me go run to hear what he said.
There's another thing. Clemson is not considered in the hunt for the national championship. I know Clemson fans think that, and because of that, he's not getting the media attention that he used to get. So he's just not out there like he has been in years past.
I think that's probably true, and I'm sure that there are probably things that Dabo is still saying today that would grab attention, but they're probably not front line. Now, maybe that changes if Clemson does go undefeated the rest of the year, wins the ACC, gets a first-round bye into the playoffs. Like, yeah, it probably feels different at that point.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be back in the limelight, but for now, he's just not.
But I would also say, even if that's the case, what has made Dabo compelling the last couple of years isn't even really a personality, it's a philosophy. What's made Dabo compelling isn't anything he grabs the mic and says that you go, oh, I got to hear more about this. The only thing that's made Dabo, respectfully, the only thing that's made Dabo super compelling the last couple of years is his absolute refusal to engage in what is considered the world of college football in 2024 and the impact that has had on his program.
The last time you heard a lot about Dabo was during the Tyler work. That was it. I mean, after that, things died down. You just haven't really heard anything.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, I think all you've really heard.
That got national attention.
It absolutely did. It absolutely did. And again, I didn't even think that was necessarily about Dabo so much as that was Tyler from Spartanburg was hilarious. And then the team started kicking everybody's ass after that. And it was like, oh, maybe they needed that kick in the pants, that tough love they're not going to get from Dabo Swinney. But he's not to me, respectfully, again, I'm not saying this is not a bad thing. All I give a damn about and all you should give a damn about is, does he win? And right now, Clemson's winning. But he's not a compelling personality, right? On the list of college coaches, he's certainly behind Prime and Cignetti and list of guys that if they say Prime's on an interview today, I'm going to find it. Cignetti's on an interview today. I'm going to find it. Hell, I would make the argument, whether you like it or not, Shane Beamer is a more compelling personality than Dabo Swinney. But again, you don't win national championships based on your personality. And I would take the most bland, boring, vanilla coach in the world if that guy was going to bring me a natty every couple of years. For sure. All right? Now, all of that being said, part of the reason that these things are compelling is because when you are prideful and have that larger-than-life personality, but when you are prideful, America kind of likes to see you get your comeuppance. That's why professional wrestling is so big. That's why heels are more popular than faces by and large, because we love a personality that is compelling, that makes you want to hear what they have to say. But you also love to see those people get punched in the junk every now and then. Yesterday on ESPN, Dan Orlovsky and Shannon Sharp were having a conversation about one of those teams and one of those people.
Well, let's make it the trifecta, because it couldn't happen to a more smug, cavalier, condescending guy. Oh, that's even low for you. Now, who else you gonna blame it on? You running out of people to fire and demote. You fired Robert Saleh. You're gonna fire Ulbrich now, the interim coach. You've demoted Hackett. What you gonna do? Demote the new offensive coordinator? Who else you gonna trade for? Who else you gonna bring in? Oh, we're a quarterback away. Stephen A., remember I had this conversation. I say you're under the illusion that defense is going to be exactly what it was last year. In the history of NFL, only one team had a historically great defense, and it got better the following season. That's the 85 Bears. The 86 Bears were statistically better. Statistically, that's the greatest defense ever assembled. So you're saying this Jets team was going to be better than the 86 Bears. I didn't believe it. You heard what Gottschalk said yesterday. This guy, I can chase him down. Aaron is slow. He's slow, guys. He's not what he wants.
So that's Shannon Sharp going off on Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. He wasn't alone. Noted Jets fan, and I will point out, guy that hung an Aaron Rodgers jersey on the wall in the studio. Guy who repeatedly wore an Aaron Rodgers jersey on the air. Guy who repeatedly said, that's it, the Jets are going to the Super Bowl. Guy who, when Devontae Adams got sent there, was all about it. Like Hulk Hogan in the ring. Oh, what? We are a real American. Mike Greenberg also had something to say.
New York Jets of 2024 are one of the colossal failures in sports history. When we talk about the true failure teams, people always go back to the 2011 Philadelphia Eagles, who called themselves the Dream Team, who, by the way, finished 8-8. This team isn't going to finish anywhere near 8-8. But when you consider the future Hall of Fame quarterback and the trade they make for his longtime best friend and all these young players they have on the roster, and they fire the coach because it's going to make them better and it only makes them worse, and everything else, all the words that have been said, all the words that have been written, all the actions that have been taken, all the hype and all the belief that has existed, and what the actual results have been, the Jets of 2024 are one of the greatest, most colossal and embarrassing failures in sports history. And that sticks to all of them. So when people say, does this stick to Rodgers? Yes. It doesn't mean he's not an all-time great. It doesn't mean he's not a Hall of Famer, but it most certainly goes in the permanent record. It goes in the bio. The New York Jets turned over their entire franchise to him, and it got much, much worse, like embarrassingly worse. What they're doing is embarrassing to watch. I've been following this team 50 years. I've never been as embarrassed to say that I'm a fan or to say that I believed in them as I have been this season and yesterday in particular.
That's a dude who has been parading around on ESPN for months and months and months in Jets green. I mean, putting his enthusiasm on display only to be driven down into misery. Now, I will acknowledge that, in fairness, Greeny, it's kind of on you, bud, right? Orlovsky, it's kind of on you. Hell, Shannon Sharp, it's kind of on you. You guys spin the media narrative, and you guys are the ones that were getting on ESPN every day going, oh, the Jets, the Jets, the Jets, Jets. When Rob Brown told you coming into the year, this team's not going to be anywhere near a division crown. They're just not good enough. They're the Jets. It's on you for creating that buzz that knocked it down. But I would also argue, yeah, it's a little bit the Jets. It's a little bit Aaron Rodgers. It's a little bit Woody Johnson. It's a little bit the folks in that organization who were also out there parading around about how we finally got here. We're here. We've arrived. It's us. We're the Jets. Jets, Jets. And there has been an attitude of smug out of Aaron Rodgers. There has been an attitude of overconfidence out of Woody Johnson. There has been this attitude from this organization. And so you can't really complain when everybody in the world is dropping elbows on you because you're an organizational failure. From top to bottom, left to right. Texas said if the Jets had a kicker, they'd be 500. Maybe if Zerline was the guy. Francesca said that in the clip we played yesterday. But see, here's the thing. Who is their kicker is also kind of on them. That is part of their personnel evaluation that they've also failed at, right? So it all comes back to them. And when some of you guys ask, like, why is there so much Jets talk right now when they stink? The answer is because Jets fans, the Jets organization, and Aaron Rodgers have been out front putting themselves everywhere for 2 years now and have accomplished nothing. And there's not much we love in sports more than watching the boastful get it handed to them. Get it handed to them. And that's where it comes from. There's your answer. Texture said, worth noting that outside of the Clemson bubble, Dabo is not well received. I've been saying that for years. Outside of here, he's considered a hoke. But what else have I said for years? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how the nation feels about him. Matters how you feel about him and matters about success. And he's had plenty of both. And you guys are still fine with him. Who cares what they think about him in Gary, Indiana or Los Angeles, California or Miami, Florida? All that matters is how you feel about him and does he win? And some of you may not have checked the schedule lately, but Clemson's winning again, like by a lot of points. Also winning, you, because you get to listen to Lonzo enlighten, educate, inform, and entertain you with this Sports Flash.
Yeah, last I checked, Clemson's only lost one game. With a 4-2 victory in Game 3, the LA Dodgers are now one win away from claiming a World Series title. Freddie Freeman hit his third run in as many games to give the Dodgers a 2-0 lead in the first inning that LA never surrendered. Walker Buehler went 5 innings, allowing just 2 hits and striking out 5. Game 4 is now an elimination game tonight at 8:08. Carolina Hurricanes defeated the Vancouver Canucks 4-3 last night. In overtime, Sebastian Aho, Will Carrier, Martin Necas, and Jack Roslovic had goals in the victory. Week 8 of the NFL season came to a close last night with a 26-18 Pittsburgh victory over the Giants. Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson went 20 of 28 for 278 yards and a touchdown, and Najee Harris ran for 114 yards. Tune in this Friday at 7 p.m. as the Burns Rebels head to Bowling Springs to take on the Bulldogs right here on your home for Burns football, The Fan, Upstate. All right, Zach, that is hilarious.
That's well played. That is well played. So we're going to a pumpkin carving party for Halloween tonight. Here's my question. I have not been informed that this is or is not a costume party. So do I just show up in costume and not care whether it is or is not and risk being the only person in costume? And if I am, do I care?
No, you shouldn't care, but you could also find out. I mean, you know.
I think I'm just going to go for it. So the question then becomes, do I go as a pirate with a real sword to the house of a person who I will know no one else there and just lulls at having an actual sword? Do I go as a Jedi Knight? Or do I go as Iron Man, knowing that if I commit to Iron Man, I am rocking a goatee for the next several days? A Tony Stark goatee for the next several days. I have not decided yet.
Yeah, I would go with the Iron Man thing because if you're just going to do the
I was going to put on a suit, but wear the chest piece, have a lit up chest piece.
You can. I mean, if you show up and no one's
Just
wearing
take
anything,
that
you
off.
take the chest piece off and you just have a goatee.
But then I'm just a Delta Bravo with a stupid goatee.
That's I mean,
and glasses, cool glasses.
Some people rock goatees. I mean, and you probably will, because the side beard is so thin. I mean, it's not. I mean, look from the front view, you're not going to notice. It's not like you got full on mountain man beard.
Ouch
going.
a little bit, but I get it.
Why?
You're not wrong.
Why? I mean, you got it thin. I mean, so do I. I mean, that's how it's worn when you have a longer face. You
I'm
do
very sensitive about my trailer park facial hair.
You ain't got none of that.
It's a very white trash beard.
Who decides that? I mean, and where did that originally come from?
Listen, there are accepted stereotypes about groups of people. People don't rock my goatee without it being labeled as the Joe Dirt beard. It is absolutely a Joe Dirt beard.
No, when you go goatee, it's going to match the glasses and the attitude that goes with it. And it's not what you said before. It's more 1%er, I'm better than you vibes than it is white trash.
But I'm not 1%er or better than anyone.
I said vibes.
Oh, vibes.
That's what I mean. That's how vibes work. Yeah, but Zach, your goatee is like 3 feet long. That's totally different. Mad World, next break.
Mad World, next break. Went to a Halloween party this past weekend, and someone dressed as the French pole vaulter taped a bar across them with a banana hanging over it.
I hope it wasn't a kid's party. In which case you may have to keep your distance away from schools and things. After.
This is one of those things that on one hand, I don't want to do it because somebody else has already done it. On the other hand, I'm going to go buy tights and a banana today.
You're not going to do it.
I'm tempted to do it. I don't think I can get away with it here at work.
Oh, no. Here, you could definitely get away with it.
You think I could?
Yeah, no one's going to say anything here. It's more, I'm just guessing here that your new wife will say no.
I mean, she said no to a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, if you're willing to risk, what comes with someone being unhappy with you doing something, I mean, go for it.
There are some things though that it's just worth it to sleep on the couch for a few days. Honestly, I think she'd be fairly. The only costume I like more than that is there's a girl who in the last couple of days was going around New York City in a Halloween costume. She dressed as Ray Gun. You remember the breakdancer from the Olympics who was hilariously bad at her job?
Mm-hmm.
She dressed as Ray Gun, and she was going around to actual breakdance things in New York City and just entering them and doing Ray Gun dance moves. Again, masterclass.
How do we know it wasn't really her?
I mean, I know what Ray Gun looks like. She's the only breakdancer in the world that I know what she looks like.
Okay.
The only one. It is 8 o'clock on the dot straight up, which means it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Audio Blitz, the best audio we have captured over the last 24, 48, 36, 72 hours since the last time we spoke, or longer if I think the audio is that good. Let's jump into it. I want to start with this one. I learned something the other day. There's a guy that I follow on Instagram. And this guy on Instagram, great one, he's a musician. But he breaks things down and he explains stuff about little bits of music that come from random places. Like, for instance, Lonzo, this is on a piano, but I think the sound is recognizable. Can you tell me what this sound is?
Yeah, I know what it is, but I'm not having the most alert day.
Off the hook. That is the level complete sound from the
Mario.
original Super Mario Brothers game.
Yeah. It's like, it was just, I was thinking sports.
Yeah.
And that's what threw me. Yeah.
All right. So that is the level up sound. Lonzo, same game. Can you tell me what this is?
Just died.
No, that is when you grab the mushroom.
Oh, okay. See, here's the thing. Nintendo's for children. And so because of that, I struggle with Nintendo sounds.
And Lonzo's cut off from this conversation.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, I've said it for many years. Nintendo's for children.
I'm better than you. I play adult games.
There you go. Yeah, like you don't ever say that about anything.
I don't. Only things that it's actually true about. As a children, when the original Nintendo was in its prime, and as someone who appreciates a good nostalgic burst every now and then, what I found interesting was this musician who taught me something about the sounds from this video game.
I mean, when's the last time you bought a Nintendo?
The correct question would be, when's the last time I played Nintendo?
No,
and the answer to that's 2 weeks ago.
No, when's the last time you bought a Nintendo?
Don't you not own a Switch?
I do.
Who makes that?
The Nintendo.
Okay, just making sure.
I didn't buy it, by the way. It was a Christmas gift.
The musician taught me something I did not know. It's irrelevant to you or sports, but I loved it anyway.
Here's a Nintendo fun fact for you. If I play the level complete sound from Super Mario, and we speed it up a whole bunch, we get the mushroom sound.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it. He broke it down. He played it at 3 speeds. It's the same sound, just really quickly sped up. I don't know why that blew my mind, but I had to stop my whole day to listen to that clip like 50 times.
It kind of makes sense. I mean, it does.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but have you slowed it down to see if he's telling the truth?
I slowed down that clip, and if it's not the same thing, it's real close. But it sounded good. And by the way, when he speeds up at the end, obviously he played it and then he clipped it and sped it up. It's the same clip of him playing it. So I'm going with it's real because it blew my mind and I like it.
Well, after the show, I know what I'm doing.
I'm good with that.
Find the actual sound and slow it down and see if it's the truth.
My favorite subsection of the internet is old NBA players telling stories about Larry Bird. It's my fave. There is an entire subsection of the internet that is just old NBA players, primarily black players, telling stories about their interactions with Larry Bird. I got 2 new ones dumped on my head this weekend, and I haven't stopped laughing. Let me start with Dominique Wilkins, who told the story of the 14 years of relationship that he had, or should I say not had, with Larry Bird from his rookie year on till today.
Larry and I, we played against each other like 12, 13 years. We never shook hands, never spoke. Really? As the great players back then, you didn't want another great player to get that close to you. Yeah. So none of us liked each other, never spoke. I didn't speak to him for 13 years straight.
I love Larry even more hearing that.
Hey, another guy,
because he was
you
a
don't
dog.
have any idea how good he was if you hadn't played against him.
Talking too, right?
And first time I played against him. Yeah, I'm a rookie. I'm glad to be in the league. You know, I'm in the Boston Garden, and I'm guarding him, right? First play of the game, he said, I don't know why you got you guarding me, Holmes. I was like, huh? He shoots a 3. And I wasn't mad he made the 3. I said, but this something called me Holmes. You know? And so the next play, he comes out, he shifts to his right, and I jump. I said, I got him. And I'm pumping it by my head, and I banged it on him, right? He on the ground, he fouled me, and I'm pointing. And he said, hey, Rook. I'm like, what? He said, I like you. You got balls. He said, I'm still getting 30 on you today. He got about 37.
Yeah.
But I wasn't mad because I'm paying my dues. That's Larry. You know?
Right. Yeah.
But that was the only time he ever talked trash. He had an interview and they was talking about trash talking. And he said, you take Dominique. And he said, I said some things to Nick and he would just smile at me. But he understood what that smile was about. He said he just came to play. He said, I have more respect for him than any player I ever played against. I never knew he felt that way.
Wow.
That was one of the few times he's ever said anything to me. Now, today we're friends.
Yeah.
You know, because we're not competitors anymore.
Right. Yeah.
I love these stories. He wasn't the only one. John Sally was also on the Matt Barnes podcast, and he told his story about Larry Bird.
He came to me, he said, what's up, Sal? I got in the game, and he was like, oh, you starting tonight? I go, yep, I got you. He said, y'all double teaming? I said, nah, I got you straight up. He said, y'all not double teaming me? He said, change the play. He said, mouse in the house. And inside pivot, shot it. He said, it's going to be a long night, Sal. I was like, wow. But he was seriously, and people don't realize, he's 6'9".
Yeah.
You know, they for some reason, they think he's a small dude.
Yeah,
no, he's 6'9".
big.
How Luka moves is how Larry moves. Larry did it all.
Larry
Play
was
defense, pass the ball,
rebound, everything.
Rebound, new situation, new time clock. You can see he wasn't thinking about anything else but the game.
Yeah.
There was no timeout. You know, we're looking in the crowd, looking at girls and asking for, make sure you got my hot dogs in the locker room. None of that. It was only basketball.
Yeah, he was special, man.
I love these stories, man. I love these stories from the cats that played against Larry, and I love these stories with the folks who, shall we say, PC style, obviously have a cultural background that is different than Larry Bird's, but they meshed up because Larry loved the game of basketball, and these cats love the game of basketball. And on top of that, Larry Bird might be the greatest talker in the history of the NBA. And they love him for it. They're respectful. I think it's fantastic. I love that story. I also love, as it seems like we're doing daily now, anytime we get to make a Rob Gronkowski appearance on the Audio Blitz, like this one, when he sat down with Julian Edelman, and they had a conversation. Well, I can't set it up any better than they can.
You never dropped a ball, though. Once in a while, but that's because my wrists were tired.
Your wrists are tired?
Yeah, my wrists were tired.
From doing what?
Rice grabs. When you squeeze the rice.
Strengthen your hands.
Yeah, strengthen my hands. For some reason, I got bored that morning before the game, and I was doing it.
For all you young kids, no rice hands before a game. Your wrists might get tired.
Retired Rob Gronkowski is the best thing on television. Best thing on television. Why were your wrists tired? Rice grabs. And just owned it. Just rolled with it. I love this guy. I don't care. It's okay to have fun, and there is nobody on television having more fun than Rob Gronkowski right now. Just nobody. And the dude doesn't care, man. It's the best. It's the best. Why were your wrists tired, Gronk? Rice grabs.
I'm waiting for the text that says to stop over after.
For what? For playing Rob Gronkowski telling a hilarious story. And by the way, kids, providing you with a foolproof way to make your pass catching hands stronger. All right? You take a bucket of rice, you punch your hand down in there, you grab fistfuls of rice, you pull them up, you squeeze that rice, you drop it, you repeat it. Rice grabs. That is clearly what Gronk was doing on game day when he was bored. Rice grabs. That dude's the best. That dude's the best. Dan Campbell is also the best. The head coach of the Detroit Lions was doing a presser yesterday.
On the trade front in like the next 24 hours, nothing that Brad's come to you with.
Yeah, could be. What do you think of Muhammad yesterday?
No, seriously, though, has he come to you with something that you...
Yeah, could be.
you heard that little pop sound in the interview there, and you heard all the reporters starting to laugh. That's because, if you couldn't hear the question at the beginning, a reporter asked Dan Campbell, hey, is there anything happening in the trade front right now? The NFL trade deadline is next Tuesday. Is there anything happening in the trade front right now that could make the Detroit Lions better? Now, if you've been paying attention, you know that the Lions are connected to the move for a number of great players, one of them being Max with 2 X's Crosby, an incredible and terrifying defensive end for the Las Vegas Raiders. And the thought right now is that the Lions could make a move to go get Max Crosby up out of Vegas and bring him to Detroit Rock City to replace the injured Aiden Hutchinson. But there's another development in that story. The other development in that story is that Aiden Hutchinson will not be available for a while, but Lonzo, Aiden Hutchinson could be available to the Detroit Lions for the playoffs, probably in a limited role. But the thought here is that would end up in a spot where the Lions get to tag team both offensive tackles with Max Crosby and Aiden Hutchinson. You know who that sucks for? Everybody else. Well, that little pop and laugh there was because the second time that Dan Campbell was asked, is there any work going on right now? Have you been informed of the Lions potentially making any moves? Lonzo, he skipped up and down in the air like a schoolgirl. He was giddy. Yeah, seriously, coach, have you heard of any moves? He's like, maybe. It's like a child on Christmas morning that just came down and saw the presents under the tree. Maybe.
He does that on Applebee's commercials. I don't know if I'd read too much into it.
I'm reading all the way into it. All the way into it. Can I tell you how much I love the Detroit Lions? The Detroit Lions. I love them.
Are they your new team?
They are not. They are not. I still have a team.
So your love is limited.
I have a concept of a team, is what I have right now. I love Dan Campbell, though. I really do. All right, let's get a couple more before we get up out of here. Let's go with this one. Hey, the audio blitz isn't complete without a solid clip from inside the NBA.
A quick quiz here for Shaquille O'Neal. Cole High School, you wore what?
33 because of Patrick Ewing.
That's easy. LSU.
33 because of Patrick Ewing.
Let's go to the Lakers.
34 because the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wore 33.
Come on, of course he remembers this.
Yeah, with Phoenix Suns.
32.
32. The Heat.
32.
Why?
Because I knew Alonzo was coming back. And I didn't want to take his number.
The Dolphins.
I never played with the Dolphins.
In the Western University Dolphins. In
number 50. Yeah, that's right. Number 50.
Yeah, yes. Magic.
32.
Yep. The Celtics.
36.
36? Why 36?
Oh, that's how many points he had like in a month. No, I think 32, 33, and 34 were taken up.
All right. Cavaliers.
33.
Why 33?
That's how many points he had in 2 months. After I had 4 rings, and you got none.
Come on, man. You know what I'm going to do tomorrow? Like, this the Shaq that came to me?
You know what I'm going to do tomorrow? I'm going to wear my ring so you can look.
I'm never going to stop being entertained by Shaq and Chuck just bodying each other constantly. You went to Cleveland. What number? 36. Why? Because that's how many points he had in a month. You went to Cleveland. 33. Why? Because that's how many points he had in 2 months. These clowns are the best, and I adore them for it. Absolutely adore them for it. They're phenomenal. Let's go with, Ken Griffey Jr. making the audio blitz. Told the story about the MLB. Annually at the Hall of Fame celebration, MLB holds a dinner for all members of the Hall of Fame that are still alive. And that means because the MLB Hall of Fame has been around for a gazillion years, a lot of them are up there in age. And Griffey Jr. says they still got it.
The Hall of Fame dinner, where it's just the Hall of Famers, is probably the funniest thing in the world. Because you have guys, who in their 60s and 70s and early 80s that are still talking junk like they go out right now and throw a no-hitter. Yeah. Like my first one, I remember this, and Hank was there, and I sat down, and he was like, hey, you can sit here. You got enough home runs to be at this table. Everybody else, they go over there, look, and he's just started naming, he ain't got enough room. He got no chance of sitting at this table. This is the big boy table. Tony Perez is over there talking about, why are you sitting at the Happy Meal section? This went on. And then the following year, like Suter was there, and they were like, hey, we got a guy who hit 700 home runs. We had a guy who gave up 700. I mean, these guys are still talking this way at dinner. And I'm like this. I'm like saying not to say nothing. I'm looking around.
I love that there's a room of baseball players ranging in age from 40 to 90, Hall of Famers. And Ken Griffey Jr. says they all sit around tables and just openly talk to each other. That's fun. Sports are the best, dude. The absolute best. I can't tell you how much money I would have to watch a table full of 700 home run hitters yell smack talk across the room at a table full of 3,000 strikeout pitchers about how many they hit off of them and how many times they got sat down by the four-seamer. That's I don't know why that's actually my favorite clip. It's just old baseball players talking bleep. Fantastic. All right, when we come back, I want to talk college football for just a minute because there's a very interesting soundbite I pulled yesterday that I think kind of delves into why I have said, for all y'all that say college football, no, it's not. And I'm going to prove it next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, one more reading. We're coming back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you. It's Rob Brown. I hope you're enjoying the show. If you're not, I don't know why you're here, but I am glad that you are. Hey, do us a favor. Whether you're enjoying it or not, would you mind sharing us around your social media, please? And thank you, Twitter, X, whatever you call it. I don't care. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it doesn't matter to me. Help us get the good word out. We're trying to get famous and rich, and we can't do it without your help. So, The Rob Brown Show is on all social media, or share the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, wherever you're watching this, and we'd appreciate it very much. Now, let's get back to the show. Stick around.
Look, someone didn't have loop on.
No, I did that on purpose.
Did you?
Yeah, that way when that video ends, we come back. Because it says, let's get back to the show.
Does it?
Yeah. That's a production decision. A productive production decision.
Okay. Good to see Giselle moved on.
Oh, did she? She got herself a new.
She's pregnant.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. With her exercise instructor.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. PlayStation fan has spent upwards of $2,000 on 24 years worth of PS Plus to avoiding price increases. Is that the way to go, though? I mean, that's quite a lot.
It makes sense, I guess. Like, you know, you're playing video games.
All right, so when I know I'm retiring,
Just buying.
that's the move to make for me, because so then it's not coming out of my Medicare.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and let's see. I got like 15 years left to live. Let's go with 15.
More years, solid 15 years.
So I said on the Pulse, when I retire, we will reach a point where I can put on a headset and live another life, even though I won't be able to move on the couch.
I'm hoping by the time I get old, they figured out how to upload my consciousness to the mainframe.
Well, that's coming. I mean, Elon Musk will be the first one to do it.
I hope it's somebody.
Well, okay, so
I've been following his brain chip development, and it's not going great.
So don't live on then. You saw the robots like I did. Rob the robot, not Robbie the robot.
So I was scanning the social media yesterday, looking up some college football stories, getting ready for today. And one of the stories that we have been following has obviously been the development of the University of Miami. The Hurricanes have remembered how to football. And they're footballing relatively well this year. They remain undefeated, granted. They've gotten what feels like at least a little bit of assistance from the folks at the game that happen to be wearing black stripes and whistles. But regardless of how they got here, the Miami Hurricanes are indeed, ladies and gentlemen, on the inside track to participate in the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship game, likely against your Clemson Tigers coming up at the end of the year. And that means are indeed on an inside track to potentially earn a bye in the first round of the first annual college football playoffs. Well, there was a Miami story that I found yesterday that I wanted to play at least the sound for you today. Some of you that are diehard college football fans, you may remember the name Nevin Shapiro. Nevin Shapiro is one of the big-time University of Miami Hurricane boosters. So big that pre-NIL, you knew if you followed college football with any level above casual enthusiasm, his name. Well, Nevin Shapiro told a story about back in the day when the Miami Hurricanes had a young man by the name of Devin Hester on the program. You may remember Devin Hester. He was not only one of the most prolific kickoff return men in college ball history, he went on to become one of the most prolific kick returners in pro ball history as well. And Nevin Shapiro told an interesting little story about him.
You go, Coach, let me ask a question. What's going on with Devin Hester? He's like, I don't understand. What do you mean? I said, yeah, why is he sitting on the bench? You got a Ferrari, but you're driving a Ford. You got a Ferrari in the garage. What are you doing? Well, I'm not, Nevin, you're a booster. I don't even know why I have to answer you. I said, Coach, if that kid don't see the field, I'm turning off the faucets. I get a call later that afternoon from Devin. Guess who's starting kick returner and punt returner? I go, let me guess. You? Devin takes 2 punts. You can check it out. At home against Louisiana Tech, 2004. 2 punt returns for a touchdown. Following week, he had another punt return for a touchdown, or like a 78-yarder. And then right after that, 2 weeks later, goes 108 yards from the back of the end zone.
Nevin Shapiro, back in 2004, apparently wanted Devin Hester to play. Now let's start with the obvious. He was right. Devin Hester was an absolute dog. But at the time, according to the story, if you believe Nevin Shapiro, Larry Coker, who was at that point in time the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes, was not playing Devin Shapiro as the starting kick returner. And so, according to Nevin Shapiro's story, Nevin Shapiro called Larry Coker and said, hey, Larry Coker, it's Nevin Shapiro. You know, the biggest donor on the payroll right now. I would like, please and thank you, Devin Hester to be your starting kick returner. And according to the story, Larry Coker said, why the hell am I going to listen to you? You're a booster. And Nevin Shapiro said, because if you don't, I shan't be a booster any longer. And according to Nevin Shapiro's story, Nevin Shapiro's conversation with Larry Coker inspired, shall we say, Larry Coker to change his starting lineup. Now, there's two aspects of this story that I wanted to get to. Number one, no wonder Larry Coker didn't work out at the University of Miami. Because if he had Devin Hester on the bench and didn't realize what he had with Devin Hester on the bench, that's not great coaching, Larry. So that makes sense. I'm not upset with the guy who left Miami like 20 years ago. But number two, and I think this is the thing I wanted to lean on. You know how you guys, when NIL became a thing, and I said, I'm actually very pro NIL because I'm pro players finally getting a piece of the pie, And some of you guys went, I don't like this. And I don't like this very much because it makes college football all about the money. It makes college football financially driven for the players. And my response was, hey, guys, it's always been that way. This isn't new. This isn't new. Well, here you go. Now, you have two options here. Number one, you can call Nevin Shapiro a dirty, filthy, stinky liar, if you'd like to do so, and say that this story is made up and self-aggrandizing. Or you can believe Nevin Shapiro, infamous booster for the Miami Hurricanes, and come to the realization, as I did many moons ago, that it's always been about the money. I want you to think about this. A booster, not a coach, not an athletic director, not an anything. A booster, a guy who's one superpower is that he's rich. Has the ability, or at least in 2004, had the ability. That
works for Batman, right?
I mean, it does. And Iron Man, too. Two people whose superpowers are, I'm very rich. And you will notice, by the way, that in those stories.
Green Arrow also very rich.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you will notice in those stories that one of the themes that is frequently danced upon, great one, is that people with unlimited money should not be allowed to just do whatever the hell they want to do because they have unlimited money. There's a political philosophy out there that wants to do away with fines as punishment for violations of the law, because if you have the money to pay for a fine as a legal punishment, then everything's legal if you're willing to pay for it, right? Like that's a whole philosophy. The point that I'm making here is college football programs in 2004, way back in the before days when college football was ever so pure and perfect. A guy had the ability to get on the phone and change a head coach's starting lineup just by saying, you want me to scratch a check this month or not, coach? Do you want me to put some money in the coffers? Or is being the head coach and making the decision on the starting lineup more important? It has always been driven by the cash. It's just now the players get a piece of it.
I was going to say, the only thing that's changed is it's more public, at least to a degree. I mean, there's no more behind the scenes Nevin Shapiro stuff. Would he have thrived in this day and age? Probably.
Probably, except for the destination of Nevin Shapiro's big old fat, quote, power booster cash would have been either in a completely different direction or at least in some degree a different direction. Now those checks probably are scratched Nevin Shapiro, but pay to the order of quarterback A or linebacker B, as was evidenced in a story yesterday told by Dan Orlovsky. And I'm going to play that for you coming up next. I am Rob Brown, the Great Lonzo's on the ones and twos. The Rob Brown Show continues after this. It is, ladies and gentlemen, the Fan Upstate.
Good life.
All right, guys, one more and we're back. Stay right there for me. Like the menu there isn't what I necessarily hope. I'm going to address the Orlovsky quote that I was telling you about. Play you that bite here in just a minute, but I wanted to address a couple of texts that we got during the break. 71307 is the text line. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, 71307. You can also shoot us a call on the Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone at 844-FAN-FONE. That's 844-326-3663. You can also leave a message on the Ray Memorial Hotline. Go to the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Put it on all your digital devices. Go to the Fan Upstate page and click on the microphone button. You can leave up to a 60-second voice note that will come directly to the great one and I. It's the Ray Memorial Hotline, only available on the Odyssey app. Got a couple of texts that said, Rob, I am sure there is way more details of the story that got left out. Probably explained he's a good player, watch the tape, blah, blah, blah. Probably said, well, fine, I'll give him a shot, and he's not good. Then he's benched. Definitely way more to that story. And listen, do I think that the conversation went, hey, coach, play Devin Hester, or I'm cutting off the funding? No. Do I think Nevin Shapiro has a reason to tell a fib about a story that happened 2 decades ago? And also, by the way, the timing of what happened that year lines up with what his story was? I mean, only if he, and don't get me wrong, I think Nevin Shapiro is a giant egomaniac. The only reason you know the name of one booster from one program back in 2004 is because of that. Sure. I don't dispute this story. It may not have happened exactly the way Nevin Shapiro says that it happened, but I'd be willing to bet the details are pretty spot on. Okay. I'd be willing to bet this happened. And for the record, I would be willing to bet this happens at or happened at a lot more schools than just Miami with just Nevin Shapiro. Every school has got power boosters. Boosters that don't donate so damn much to the program that they probably absolutely do have direct access to the head coach of the program. I just don't know how many schools, and I'm sure, again, it's more than just Miami, have had a booster that is at so much money and so much power within the program that they're able to convince the head coach to make a personnel decision. That to me is just an illustration of the fact that the game is no different. It's just players can benefit from it now. Now, some of y'all take that and you get angry at the players, and it's understandable. I want you to listen to this quote, this story that Dan Orlovsky told yesterday, and then we'll address that next.
I'll share a story with you, and I won't tell you the name of the coach, but I remember a coach talking about kind of like this very thing. And he said that he had a player come into his office like the night before the spring game and say, hey, coach, this other program is offering me X amount of dollars through NIL. And the coach responded back saying, I don't want to talk about this right now. Play the spring game tomorrow, and we can have this conversation after the spring game. The young man said to him, I'm not playing in the spring game unless you pay me and you tell me right now you're going to give me more. And then the coach was like, all right, then our conversation is over. Go do what you have to do.
So, according to Orlovsky, he was told by a college football coach that the day before a spring game, a player walked in, said, I got offered this much in NIL from another school, pay it or I'm out. And the coach said, all right, dog, see ya. Okay. Oh, like, okay. And there were a lot of people that were fired up. Oh, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is allowed, yada, yada, yada. Not only can I, because I don't care who you give the power to. If someone has the opportunity to make a decision like that, you can't be shocked that they're going to make that decision, okay? If I walk into my boss when my contract comes up and I go to my boss, I have the right to say, hey, boss man, I feel like I've done a good enough job and I am valuable enough to you that I should get X more dollars a year. And then the boss has the right to say, you're right, I agree. Or I agree you should get more, but not that much. Here's my counter offer. Or, hey, Rob Brown, why don't you go yourself and find a new place to work? And I get to make a decision on how I react to that. And he gets to make a decision on how he reacts to that until both of us are satisfied with the outcome and we go our separate ways, or we come to an agreement to keep me here, right? The same is true for these kids now. This kid made a decision. This is what I believe my value to be. And you can either give me that much to stay here and participate and add that value to your program, or I got another place that will give me that much, and I'm going to go there. And then is the coach's right to say, yeah, no, we ain't doing this. I ain't playing this game with you. Goodbye. Don't let the door hit you in the rear on the way out. Hasta luego, muchacho. Or to say, you know what? You are valuable enough to my team that I am willing to put up with this attitude. I'm going to go make a phone call right now. I'm going to go make a phone call right now, and we're going to find that NIL money to keep you here. It's the coach's right to respond to that player, just like it's the player's right to make that claim, to make that demand. And I will simply tell you that if I am a coach, and I know that it's very easy to sit here on this microphone and say, well, if I was a head coach, this is what I'd do. But if I was a head coach, this is what I'd do. I would address every one of those demands based on what I believe that player adds to my program. Now, what he adds to the program is a hell of a lot deeper than how many yards can you throw for or receive or run for? How many pancake blocks do you get? How many TFLs do you get? How many sacks do you get? How many interceptions do you get a year? It is also, what do you bring to the table in terms of locker room leadership? What do you bring to the table in terms of practice leadership? What do you bring to the table in terms of representation of the program in public? What do you bring to the table in terms of your face being out there promoting the school, right? And for some players, and this is true of every job everywhere, every single one of you has had at least one job where you have worked with a coworker who is allowed to get away with a hell of a lot more than other coworkers because the bosses, whether it was a correct evaluation or not, evaluated the value that that person added to that business to be more than the value that the other coworkers added to the business. Now, they may be wrong as to why they feel that way. They may be wrong to that being true. It's irrelevant. The person making the decision, the person stroking the check, can look at an employee and go, this is what I believe your value to this company is X, and therefore I am willing to come off of X. And it's not just dollar amounts. It might be what they're allowed to get away with. I promise you, and I'm not saying this is a negative, I recognize how reality works. I promise you there are other hosts in this group, in this cluster, that are allowed to get away with more on and off the air than I am. Why? Because the amount of revenue that they bring to this station is just bigger than mine. And that's okay. That's how the game works, all right? The same is true of football players, and the same is true of plumbers and electricians and cops and firefighters. Some guys, some gals are allowed to get away with more because the person who strokes the checks believes their value is more. Nothing has changed. This isn't new. It's just now that money is one of those variables. I promise you, there have been football players in the past. Let's go back to, I'll use. Hey, he's been in the news, and he's the first example that came to my brain. I promise you, on the 2013 Florida State University Seminole roster, a national championship winning roster, I promise you that there were players on that roster that had they gone into the library on campus and stood on top of a table and shouted the thing that Jameis Winston shouted in a library at the top of his lungs. I promise you that there are players on that roster that had they done that, they would not have stepped foot in that locker room again. They would have been off that team immediately. And they would have been off that team for any variety of reasons. Maybe it's because Jimbo Fisher, the head coach at the time, wanted to virtue signal that, hey, we're actually a really good program that has class and ethics. And therefore, we're not going to let this kid play. But see, Jameis Winston was on his way to making a run at a Natty and a Heisman Trophy that year. So the rules were a little bit more lenient. Just like had they played in the NIL days and Jameis went to Jimbo and said, yo, coach, if I'm going to stay here and quarterback this team, I need $500,000 in NIL money. The likelihood that Jimbo Fisher would have picked up the phone and started making calls to boosters that day versus he would have done the same thing had the backup left tackle had come to him and said, Coach, I need $50,000 to stay on this team. It's pretty much a given, right? It's pretty much a given. It's pretty much a guarantee. So nothing has changed is the point that I'm making here. Once again, because I still to this day pop on social media or start watching the broadcast of whatever college football themed show happens to be on Thursday nights or Saturday mornings or whatever. And I hear and I see people going, well, the game is just operated differently than it had. No, it's really not. It's really not. It's just that now we're talking about money instead of other things. Now we're talking about when we say value to a team, sometimes that literally means dollar amounts. And this coach decided to handle this situation, whoever it was and whatever the player was, whatever position they played. This coach in that moment decided that player ain't worth the hassle. That coach decided in that moment, yeah, you're not here anymore. You don't play here anymore. Go do what you got to do. And they have, just like that player had the right to go in and say, I got this much of an offer from school X. I need you to match it for me to stay. He had the right to make that demand. And the coach had the right to say, get the hell off my football program. Get out of here. If that matters more to you, then get gone. Guys, the power is not on an unequal dynamic here. If you don't want that kid there, if the value he asked for is not worth the value you believe he brings to the team, then tell him kick rocks. The coach has that power. I don't understand how this is still a thing that people are griping about. Tell him kick rocks and find a kid who fills that position in a way that you believe that the value of crap you have to put up with matches or exceeds the value or is exceeded by the value that he brings to the football field. This isn't complicated. It's not. I can't believe that kid demanded that. Then tell him get the hell out. It's not that hard. It's really not. All right. Third hour of the show, got a few more things I want to get into. Dale Earnhardt Jr. told a story on a podcast that I wanted to address for a particular reason. We'll do that coming up. It is a NASCAR guy with a story that spills over into the world of sports and more. That's all coming up after Lonzo just rocks your socks. I don't like that phrase. I don't know why it bogs me.
Yeah, because it someone else uses.
No, it's not because of that. I've always had a problem with it. It's just a weird phrase. Like, I've never been in a situation where I am so stunned, shocked, or amazed by a situation that I have to take my socks off right now.
Well, it supposedly knocks your socks off. I mean, so
has anybody ever had it? Knock your shoes off would make sense, right? Has anybody ever gotten hit so hard that their socks come off? Like your shoes, sure, happens all the time, but your socks. You need new socks. Your socks are old if they're that loose.
Maybe if you got maybe a train. I mean, that could hit
even
you
still
hard enough.
Are your socks so loose?
Yeah, I don't think your socks come off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will after Alonso reads this sports flash.
Don't do that, man. Your feet stink. Week 8 of the NFL season came to a close last night with a 26-18 Pittsburgh victory over the Giants. Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson went 20-28 for 278 yards and a touchdown, and Najee Harris ran for 114 yards. Controversial call kept George Pickens off the scoreboard as a catch in the end zone was ruled incomplete when his right foot touched the ground twice, but his left foot did not, it's not a controversy. It's just a rule. The Carolina Hurricanes defeated the Vancouver Canucks 4-3 last night. In overtime, Sebastian Aho, Will Carrier, Martin Necas, and Jack Roslovic had goals in the victory. The 4-2 victory in the Game 3, the LA Dodgers are now one win away from claiming a World Series title. You can check that out, possibly the elimination game, possibly the end of the World Series tonight at 8:08. Tune in this Friday at 7 o'clock as Burns takes on Boiling Springs right here on The Fan Upstate. I realized that was a gruesome example, but I was already into it, and I regretted it. but I don't think there's anything that can impact you in a way that would make your socks come off. In the end, I think it's just because rocks and socks rhyme. That's the only thing it can be, right? Well, depending on what kind of socks you wear, if your shoes get knocked off, your socks will, if you're wearing like anklets or the things that are not anklets, but are like the next lowest thing, which I don't know what those are called. Like they only come on half your heel, and I don't understand those. Those probably would come off. Really?
So we stumbled into the conversation at the end, or observation perhaps, at the end of the segment there to close out the last hour. And you know, sometimes we stumble upon these cliches that I have to ask about, and then I go look up why we say these things. Like, for instance, under the weather. We actually went and learned why feeling ill is called being under the weather. And the answer was because on sailing ships back in the day, if you were below decks and you started to get seasick, you started to feel ill, the cure for that, or at least the remedy for that, or the help for that, would be go topside, go up on the deck to get some fresh air. But of course, that's where the weather is, so you were under the weather, right? The phrase knock your socks off, I went and looked during the break to try to find the origin of the phrase knock your socks off. And what I found from a couple of different places is the reason that we use the phrase knock your socks off is because it's very difficult to knock someone's socks off. So if you do something that is amazing enough to knock their socks off, you have done something that is truly wondrous, truly spectacular, truly amazing. So amazing that you have done something that is really hard to do because socks are notoriously and historically very well attached to your person. And so if you knock someone's socks off, you have done something that blew them away so much that you removed an article of clothing from that's very difficult to get off without intention. That's it. That's it. Joy B said, been to numerous incidents where people have been hit by trains. A lot of awful things happen, but the socks don't come off. Texter said, I thought knocks your socks off was a sexual reference. Now, I think take your socks off. At least, gentlemen, when it's time for romance, take your socks off, okay? Like I know the socks don't necessarily need to come off in order for the adult recreational activities to take place. But as someone who, for some reason, over the years has become the go-to nice guy that the ladies like to talk to, trust me when I tell you that you are judged if you get into adult recreational time and you leave your socks on. I don't know why. I don't know why that would be something for judgment, but the ladies judge you.
What if you have ugly toes or something?
Well, first off, get your toes worked on, all right?
Dude, there are some things
Get your toes cleaned
that you can't. I mean, you can clean them up, but if they're ugly or malformed or something, there's not a lot you can do about it.
I mean, if you got nubby nubs and there's nothing you can do about the shape, you know what you can do? You can at least go get yourself a nice pedicure and get them cleaned up and polished off and taken care of. All right. And if you say to me, it's not manly to get a pedicure. Well, that's why you got gross ass feet and the ladies don't like gross feet.
All right. I'm going to continue to fight back on this. Some people were born with like two bones and a toe or something like that, and they're embarrassed of their feet. They may otherwise be a good looking individual, but their feet are ugly. So they got to leave their socks on.
If you've gotten to the point where you're about to engage in the adult recreational activities, the ARAs. If you got to the point that you are about to engage in the adult recreational activities and your feet are so horrific that she is in and she's ready to go to do the old unskinny bop, 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 and you take your socks off and she goes, ew, never mind. You're right. That sucks. That sucks to be you. All right. It sucks to be you. There's a lot of ugly, out of shape dudes out there who are still boom, boom-ing. All right. You can work around it. I cannot, I'm not going to say it's never happened, but I can't imagine a situation where a lady has ever been prepared for those particular nocturnal activities. A dude took his socks off and she went, ew, never mind. Buy anything that is maintainable. I'm not talking about, look.
Isn't it normal to just have the lights out anyway? I'm just saying. I mean,
not every time.
There are some people. I mean, if you're hooking up and you know your feet are bad and you don't want to take your socks off, make sure the lights are out.
I mean, that is a part of the game. Okay.
And then maybe eventually she goes, "Are those your socks?" But you're already in a position where it doesn't matter anymore.
First off, as a dude, and I feel qualified to speak on this as a dude. Two things. Number one, you're never going to say no, even if it is like middle of space darkness in the room. Not a photon of light flying. Also, don't say things like photons of light floating around. That'll ruin it too. All right, but not a photon of light bouncing around the room. You're still not going to say no. But the point is, men by and large are visual creatures. We like to be able to see the things that we enjoy. Obviously, eating, sports, yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm talking about. If you leave your socks on and there's even the dimmest of lights, she's going to see the socks and she's going to go, he left his socks on.
Maybe she's looking at other things and she don't care about the socks.
No. Again, as somebody who spent many many years as every woman's don't worry about him, that's just Rob Brown least threatening friend. They see the socks. It is an inevitability, I've been told. They see the socks and they judge the socks. So fellas, here's
so wait, you've had this conversation with
many
people
times
about socks?
Many times.
This is the first time I've actually even thought about socks.
Can I ask a question that is not meant to be anything but respectful? How many engagements of this variety were you involved with where this was a discussion that would have come up? Because again, I was every girl's least. I'm not talking about the actual activity. I'm talking about like I was every girl's. I was the girl that, or I was the guy. Well, whoops. I was the guy. Yep. That's my mouse button
listen,
of the day.
I'm not doing that. I mean, there are some places where a slip, I'm not going to use that against you because it's hurtful. I'm not going to do that. Everything else, I mean, like the cursor thing with me earlier, that's fair game. But this, I will not do that.
I was the guy who other dudes would be like, yeah, I don't care if you go out drinking with my girl. You're not a threat. That's who I was growing up. All right. That's who I was. That's who I was. Literally still I am if we're keeping it a buck. All right. That's just who I am. And that's fine. I have had conversations about the preferences of the ladies with the ladies. Fellas, they don't want your socks on. Right? They just don't. It's weird. Just take your socks off. But here's the thing. If you look and you go, I got some janky ass feet. I got some dirty feet. All right. Just go get a pedicure. I know it's not, man. Trust me. Go take care of yourself. There's nothing more manly than taking care of yourself. There's just not. The pinnacle of manliness is taking care of business and yourself. Go get your feet did. The shape is largely irrelevant. The condition is not. Get your nails done. Get your toes done. All right? Get them done. Because I promise you, the ladies notice these things. And if there's any lady listeners out there, and I know that they are, feel free to text 71307, start your text with Fan, and confirm what I'm saying is true or false. If the ladies text and they go, Rob Brown, you're just wrong about this, we don't care, I'll take it. But I've had a lot of conversation with a lot of ladies about this, and I'm telling you, I'm right. They are looking at your nails, and they're looking at your feet. Why? Because that's how they tell if you're taking care of yourself. If you got dirty nails, it means you're not paying attention to the details of taking care of yourself. If you got dirty feet, it means you don't care. It means you don't care. Well, I don't see my feet. Why would I care? It means you don't care. All right. So you don't have to do it once a month, once every 4 or 5 weeks. Head on down, get yourself a manicure and a pedicure, get your toes cleaned up nice, get your fingers cleaned up nice. I promise, especially if you're in a slump, all right? Fellas, if you're in a slump, all right, you're having a hard time engaging in the adult recreational activities, the ARAs, if you're in a bit of a slump, there's a greater than 0% chance possibility that it is because of the fact that the little details that show that you take care of yourself aren't there.
What if they're just ugly, Rob?
You're not listening to me. I am not talking about if your fingers are bent because you played football like Booger. You ever seen Booger's hands?
No, you're missing the point. Maybe their fingers and toes are immaculate, taken care of.
Oh, you're saying just an ugly dude?
They're just an ugly dude.
I mean, listen, for some of us, you're only gifted with what you're gifted with. And some of us, our gifts are translated elsewhere in life. All right? Everybody's got their gifts. Some of you, me included. That's not true. I'm dead sexy. But the point is, some of us, our gifts don't manifest physically.
Say, if you said otherwise, no one would have believed you.
Your gifts don't manifest physically. They manifest in other ways. You got to lean on that. But trust me when I tell you, you got to do the best you can. All right? You got to do the best. For instance, if your hair's thinning out a little bit on top, all right, just shave it. Just go with the bald head and rock that bald head. Own that bald head. All right? If you got bad teeth, at least you can keep them brushed and clean and smelling nice. All right? Go get the braces. Who cares? You go through a year or two with the braces and then you got nice teeth. There are things that you have, whatever your baseline is, at least take care of that. Because the key is not what the look is. The key is, are you taking care of your business? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking care of what you can take care of and being confident about the things that you cannot? All right? That's all this is. Why it is not so much that the ladies really care that, you got a 6-pack, whatever. They just care, are you responsible enough that you are taking care of yourself and your health? Are you staying in shape? Are you keeping yourself healthy so that you can prosper and benefit long term? If the answer is no, it ain't because you're fat. It's because you're not taking care of your health and doing the things that can promote health. If you got janky fingernails, it does not take anything to clip them. To what's that thing what's that thing?
The emery board?
Whatever it's called.
Yeah.
To do that thing where you make them where they ain't rough on the edge.
Yeah, I don't.
You know what I'm talking about.
I don't think guys do that.
You absolutely should.
No, I don't.
You absolutely should.
I don't think so.
Because if you don't, you know what you got? Sharp fingernails. You know who that's uncomfortable for? The ladies.
I think you're going into unnecessary details.
No, I'm not. See, that's where men screw the pooch. You think it's unnecessary. It's not to the ladies.
Can let me on the air. Unnecessary details.
I mean, I don't think so. If you're gonna do it, right? If you're gonna do it, you go all the way. We don't half it around here. We don't half-ass it. We whole-ass it around here. If you're gonna do it right. That's all I'm saying. Texture says, Rob, why does this sound like the premise of a Seinfeld episode? I'm sure that it is, or at least it probably should have been. But I'm not wrong. Texture said, Rob, this is funny because if we're finally getting to the ARA point with the lady, are we saying no if they have socks on? No. Dudes don't care. Dudes don't care at all. All right, we're keeping it a buck. The dudes don't care. Ladies, you can come to bed in like the oldest, grossest nightshirt you own. If you say, hey, honey, wink, wink, it's go time. We're in. We're all in. It's go time. It's not the other. File your nails. That's it. Thank you, Texter. File your nails. You know what I was talking about. Thank you, Texter. Well done. But I'm not talking about.
What if you can't handle the sound of that? What if the sound of that makes you want to leap off the top of a building?
I don't say this very often, Lonzo, because I don't believe that this phrase has any weight to it, except when it does. And this is one of those times. Man up. Oh, come on, man. I don't like the scratchy sound. Oh, God.
You saying man up about filing your nails with an emery board. That is redundant.
I am saying.
No. I mean,
I am saying when you know that the lady appreciates it, man up and do the thing for her.
By the way, do your thing, man. If she's into you, she's into you. I mean, don't take grooming tips from Rob.
If
you do take grooming tips from Rob, I mean, do you not?
I am telling you that the lady or ladies in your life, and many of them, not all, not even close to most, many will tell you, I don't really care. They appreciate you groomed up. They do. I'm not saying you got to come home in a suit and tie every day, though they do appreciate a suit and tie too. And I'm not saying exclusively every one of them, but I'm saying the overwhelming majority of ladies, and again, I know I've done the research, they appreciate a man who is, I'm not saying sparkling clean, I'm saying groomed. Because it just shows that you care and have pride in yourself. They care that you are groomed. Your fingernails ain't claws. Your toenails don't look like you just stepped out of a jungle.
If I'm going to listen to anybody giving these suggestions, which I won't, but if I were, I'll listen to Jason Kelsey, who has the exact opposite take of yours. So,
I want you the next time you see Travis Kelsey. Let's stick with Travis.
Well, we were talking about Jason.
When's the last time you ever saw Travis without that beard line cleaned up?
Not talking about Travis, talking about Jason. You're trying to change the subject, talking about Jason.
You think you look at Jason Kelsey and you don't see a well-groomed man. I'm not talking clean. If he ends up eating a hot dog and spilling some mustard on the shirt, it happens to all of us.
You need to go back and listen to the Hot Spots portion of their podcast. And then, it's the exact opposite of you. In the end, do your own thing, man. If she's into it, she's into it. If she's not, then fix that part if that's what you want to do.
I'm not saying.
And if she's not into it, well, that's on her.
I'm not saying don't do what you want to do. That's not my take. Do what you want to do. If you want to have janky ass fingernails, have janky ass fingernails. All I'm saying is understand that the condition of you doing you has ramifications on how other people see you and are willing to engage with you. Is all I'm saying. The ladies 3-1. The ladies.
It's a good point, Tracy. This has to do with society and what level.
No, it doesn't.
It
no,
does.
It doesn't.
What level of person you're dealing with?
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
And the fact that you would pass judgment by saying you think this group of people has a different set of circumstances when it comes to what they're attracted to in this season, I don't know what to tell you. I am telling you, as somebody who has been the girl's best unthreatening friend my entire life, I am telling you what my life experiences with the ladies have been. If you have a better shot with a woman, if you have got manicured, not even manicured, just responsible nails and feet, your chances of that type of success exponentially increase. That's just a fact. This isn't a subjective opinion. I'm telling you as a fact.
And it probably definitely applies if you're into something else.
If you want to be dirty and janky, be dirty and janky. It is your life. I ain't here to tell you what to do with it. I'm just telling you. If you want the ladies to appreciate you, clean your nails, clean your feet, clean your rear, take care of yourself to the level of a responsible adult, and watch your success rate go to the moon. It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Texter said, Rob, the wifey literally said to me she appreciates how I keep the hairline clean, back of the neck and around the ears, and I outkick my coverage. I'm telling you it's possible. Just take care of yourself, gentlemen. That's all. Just take care of yourself. That's all. You can get frustrated. I'm still right.
The music's playing.
Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Sean, I can't respond. Our mother is listening. I just learned that a minute ago.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with you following your big brother's advice on grooming.
Little brother takes care of himself.
Yeah, but he's a lawyer. I mean, you got to look a certain way in
You think
court.
he's janky on the weekends when he's not lawyering?
Probably
No.
not. Probably not.
He's got himself the nice
Here's
sunglasses,
here's the
good
thing.
shoes.
Here's the thing. They look at the hair. They don't care about anything else. He's got a good head of hair.
You're wrong. Dog.
So no, I'm not. He does have a good head of hair. That's what they're looking at.
Follow me for new.
It's kind of harsh there from Cole. Wow.
I mean, he's right. The saber tooth look is out. Yeah, we're team dad bods and clean hands out on the streets now. Yes, I am suggesting claws are frowned upon.
Again, I completely get it if you're in the high society of the upstate of South Carolina, but if you're in Lawrence County or one of the poorer counties, that's not the first thing you look at, probably. I'm just saying.
My wife is from Anderson, South Carolina.
Yeah, I didn't say Anderson.
And is openly a.
I never said Anderson.
She's from Peltzer, a place so country.
It's Pelzer,
the Z
man.
is pronounced Peltzer.
It's Pelzer.
Peltzer. I have been corrected. Now, I don't care about the people from Clinton. There's definitely a T in there.
They ain't got no teeth. It's not their fault. Well, it could be. Might be all the meth. I don't know. Just realized that entire segment was from a guy who's a feet guy.
What the hell does that mean? I'm a feet guy. As in, I don't want to see yours.
No.
I don't want yours on my
As
stuff.
in now, I don't believe any of that because you won't take your socks off for anything.
I wear flip-flops 4 days a week. There's a difference between I won't take my shoes off and I won't walk around on the floor where other dirty ass.
I'm betting your bare feet are not in the bed.
Yeah, I absolutely my bare feet are in the bed.
Nope, you wear socks.
I also change my sheets.
Not only does he wear socks, he wears long tube socks.
All right, now you're just making stuff up and lying.
He makes sure before he goes to sleep that they're nice and even on both sides, and that the color matches whatever the sheets are.
That's slanderous. If I'm cold, I do have a very nice pair of flannel socks that I really like. But no, I'm a.
Wait, they make flannel socks?
And they're spectacular. They're spectacular.
I'm waiting to see a bucket truck outside peeling our picture off the window. And we find out that the feet segment was the final straw.
Tiger Pal Rachel texted the show. She said, Rob's right on this one, fellas. Yeah, no, thank you, Rachel. I mean, I know, but thank you for confirming that from the lady's perspective. All right, let's get to some sports before.
Wow, one. And thank you for the text.
Yeah, Rachel, you don't count. You're just Rachel. You don't count.
That's not what I said. And you know that's not what I said.
All right, let's get back to sports before the ghost of Ray makes his return to the show.
We could do for a good haunting. I mean,
it's Halloween, man.
Why not?
That's what I should have. I should go as the ghost of Ray for Halloween. I should go as a ghost with a sign around my neck that says "Stick to sports."
You gotta have a certain look on your face when you say it too, and look at people and in disgust. Yeah.
Why are you? What? I should go as a ghost with a basketball jersey, like a ghost colored basketball jersey that says Ray across the back. And what I should do at my Halloween party's great one is I should walk up to random people's conversations and go, "Stick to sports," and then just walk away.
You should try that with your pumpkin carving party.
That's a great costume that, if anybody at the party walks up and goes, "Ghost of Ray," that's good. I'd be like, you're awesome.
You
You're in
should
the Armada.
also go up and survey the entire pumpkin carving party about socks.
None of these pumpkins are about sports. Dale Jr. was on his podcast the other day. And the reason I bring this up is because I have been there's a weird dichotomy between two events, both of which I feel very strongly about. The first one comes from Anthony Richardson. We played you the clip yesterday. I'm going to play it again today because I think if it's the conversation. Anthony Richardson evaded a sack, ran about 50 yards to get a no gainer in the Colts game against the Texans this weekend. And then Anthony Richardson did something that in all of the years I've been watching sports, I have never seen a quarterback do. The quarterback is the thing I saw him do was tap out. You know how when you're playing basketball, whatever, you need to get checked out of the game for a sub. The routine most of us have been brought up with is to tap the side of your head to tell the coach, I got to tap out. I need a breather. I need a gas, right? Anthony Richardson literally did the helmet tap, looked at Shane Steichen and tapped himself get me out. I need a breather. And asked about it after the game, Anthony Richardson said this.
Can you explain just you subbing out when you hurt and injured and tired?
Man, tired. I ain't gonna lie. That was a lot of running right there, what I did, and I don't think I was gonna be able to go that next play. So I just, just told saying I just needed a break right there.
And it's weird. Anthony Richardson said, "I'm tired. I was tired. I ran around a lot. I needed a break. I didn't think I was going to be able to do the next play. I needed a break." Which, on one hand, he's getting absolutely blasted for right now. In the end, I was going to say in the media sphere, not really, just everywhere. I was looking yesterday on X because Anthony Richardson was trending, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be real bad. And it was just dudes blowing AR up. 25 years, I've never seen a question. Dan Marino would have, so-and-so won a game on a broken freaking neck. All right, that's Kurt Angle, but you get the point. Getting blown up. And I get it. You want a guy that out there as a dog.
He might win about as many championships as Dan Marino did.
At this point, here's the thing. You can see the flash. He looked like crap this weekend. Straight up booty cheeks all game long. So I'm like, well, there was another thing. And this is, maybe it's just me, but I was intrigued by this conversation. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was on a podcast, and he was having a discussion about Malik Neighbors, because Malik had a concussion protocol incident, the wide receiver for the Giants. He had a concussion protocol incident, and while he was going through the concussion protocol, he was spotted at a Travis Scott concert, notoriously very loud. And Dale Jr. kind of came to the defense of Malik Neighbors.
The other day, I saw Giants wide receiver Malik Neighbors facing a little backlash for being spotted at a Travis Scott concert. He's in concussion diagnosis. I laughed because I went to see Mickey Collins is kind of one of the guys all around the league in NFL, NHL. They all often are sent to see Mickey. I remember in 2012, he was like, "I need you to go get in some really complex environments." And I was like, okay, like what? And I'm out of the car. I feel like that my team is looking at me going, "I don't see nothing wrong with you." And I'm like, well, I'm not fine. And I'm going to sit on the sideline for a while. I didn't want them to know that I was having any fun, but Mickey's like, go to some complex environments. I had an opportunity to go see one of my favorite bands. And he was like, "That's perfect. Your brain needs to be really pushed and tested." And he's like, "Go to the grocery store and all these different things and I was like, I told him, I was like, "I went in the grocery store and I had to get out of there, man."
Yeah. It's vestibular. That's a vestibular concussion.
Yes. He's like, "Go back in, make it feel bad, and then come back out and then calm down." And so I just laughed because Malik was at this concert and I'm thinking, I bet that's actually the best thing for him.
So there's Dale Jr. telling the story of when he got a concussion while driving, was taken out of the ride, was put on the sideline, and was told by a brain doctor that based on the type of concussion that you have, one of the things that we need to do is put you into stressful situations that have a lot of stimuli going on around you to evaluate how your brain responds, right? Now, I'm not a brain doctor guy. I'm just a big dumb idiot with a microphone. I'm not a brain doctor guy. I tend, when in situations similar to this, I tend to trust the medical professionals who have spent a lifetime studying these things and are up to date on the most recent information available about these things. I tend to trust them. So Dale Jr. says, I got told, go to a concert. Go see your favorite band. Go put your brain through that rigorous test and let me know how you respond to it so that we can kind of figure out what comes next. Here's what I really want to make a point here. It's not so much about the treatment of head injuries because, again, big dumb idiot with a microphone, not a head doctor. But the point here is I think that we as fans sometimes look at these athletes and we want to gauge them on intangibles, on adjectives: brave, courageous, tough, gritty. We want to gauge them on what we think that we would do, or at least what we think that a successful professional athlete would do in any given situation. And then we gauge them against our ideals, not against what may or may not be their medical reality, right? And Tua Tagovailoa comes into this discussion because Tua If what happened to Tua happened, I don't know, 20 years ago, if it was 1994 or 2004, hell, maybe even 2014, if what happened to Tua, a lot of folks would be saying if Tua Tagovailoa sat out a game or two to make sure that his brain wasn't scrambled too much to, live, there'd have been folks, there'd have been a lot of y'all going, oh, Tua's weak. He's weak. What a weak guy. Yeah, you got your bell rung. It happens to everybody. Get back out there and play, Tua. And now, in 2024, Tua Tagovailoa said before last weekend, I'm going to play football again. And there were football dudes everywhere going, yeah, I don't love that, Tua. Not a big fan of that play, my guy. I don't really want to see you get your bell rung again and maybe for the last time. I ain't down with that. So here's Dale Jr. saying, yeah, I got my bell rung. I was in a pretty bad spot. Couldn't drive. Couldn't be around the team. Couldn't compete. Couldn't do anything. And my doctor said, go to a loud-ass concert. Go sit front row. Go get all that stimuli and let's evaluate that. And Dale said, my biggest concern was that I was going to go out there and PARTY because I gotta. And my team was going to look and go, there's nothing wrong with that guy. And he's right about that. His team would, the fans would, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like, especially as we learn more, specifically with the head injuries, but really for guys in general, am I saying that there aren't people in major professional roles that would take advantage of this, and utilize the opportunity to just take a break? No, of course there are. I am sure that all of you have worked or do work with someone who maybe milks your sick day formula at your office. I have worked with a dude in the past who used to tell me my sick days aren't sick days, they're vacation days, and utilized every single sick day that they were given every year. And again, I'm not even saying that they are right or wrong in doing so. All right?
Oh, they're very wrong. I will say it.
Everybody's got their own mentality. I'm not even saying they're wrong for doing so. I'm simply saying I know this person would regularly take a sick day when they weren't sick at all. And you'd see them out and about in the community doing stuff because to them a sick day was a vacation day, while I also know that the majority of people that I worked with at the time didn't do that. Because when I take a sick day, what happens? Responsibility to cover my work falls on a bunch of other people here. And I don't like knowing that I made their day suck more because I stacked my responsibilities on them to fake being sick and take a day off. But I also think that in the 17 years I've been doing this job, I've worked with one person who operated that way, or at least that I know about. One person.
When that person wasn't here, if it didn't.
I didn't say they were here.
Make people's days. No, I'm talking about figuratively at that said job. Didn't make other people's days better because they weren't there. I'm just saying. I mean, it could be that case.
I mean, maybe. But I also know when I worked with this person, frequently I was doing 7 to 8 hour days on the air because somebody had to cover that role, right? Because they were sick, but they weren't. Because I'd pop online and see that they were out at, the pumpkin patch that day or whatever. I'm sure there are athletes who do take advantage of this to get a day off. But I am saying maybe we should reserve the judgment a little bit because sometimes you don't know what's going on. What with the whole you're not their doctor thing, right? You're not their trainer. You're not their coach. You're not their med staff, whatever. Anthony Richardson was kind of a joke this weekend, though, right? Kind of a joke. I remember watching Michael Vick run for 195 yards a game and didn't tap out for a breather, all right? And you didn't get hit, AR. You didn't get hit. You just tapped out because you was tired. Not a great look. That's why the Anthony Richardson thing looks so bad when you put it up next to what Dale Jr. said a minute ago. All right, we wrap the show up next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Short break.
Dodgers beat the Yankees 4-2 to take a commanding 3-0 series lead in the best-of-7 World Series. Dodgers pitching blanked the Yankees until 2 outs in the ninth. New York was down to its last strike when Alex Verdugo hit a 2-run homer. Dodgers pitchers combined for 11 strikeouts. Starter Walker Buehler went 5 innings and struck out 5, allowing just 2 hits. Freddie Freeman hit a 2-run homer for the Dodgers. That scored Shohei Ohtani, who played despite injuring his shoulder in Game 2. Mookie Betts and Teoscar Hernandez added RBI singles. LA 1 win away from a championship. Game 4 is tonight in the Bronx. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash of the Fan Upstate.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing, to social media, to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
I'm in a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574. Oh, I'll switch. So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate? That's a headache. Nope, it's painless. Oh, so it's easy money. Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and report savings. Savings vary.
From the Ingalls Market Studio.
My job is to not reserve judgment, Mac. My job is to judge. It's great. I get paid for it. It's ridiculous. Wrapping up the hour, wrapping up the show. It's the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate. You want to jump in here at the end of the show, you can do it. Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone, 844-326-3663. Text line 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. You can tweet me at the Rob Brown Show. You can tweet the great one, Lonzo, at Lonzo one word. You can tweet everybody up in the hizzle at the Fan Upstate, at the Fan Upstate. And remember that the Ray Memorial Hotline is available for you as well. The Ray Memorial Hotline on the Odyssey app. All you got to do is go to the Odyssey app, put it on your digital devices. Go to the Odyssey app. Once you do, you go to the Fan Upstate's page. You click on the little circle microphone button. You can leave up to a 60-second voice note that comes directly to Lonzo and I that we can listen to, read, react to, and circle back around to address as ready. And we will do so throughout the week. Go to the Odyssey app, go to the microphone button on the Fan Upstate page, and leave a message on the Ray Memorial Hotline. We talked about the World Series earlier in the show. I want to get back to it here for just a minute. I dislike the New York Yankees. And I dislike them for a variety of reasons. I think their, for instance, facial hair policy is very stupid and outdated. I think the whole concept of, you can't have a beard because that's unprofessional. All right, maybe it's because I am a poorly bearded American, but a bearded American nonetheless. I think that's very dumb. If I went to work for a place and they said, you can work here, but no beards allowed, yeah, that's going to add like a few grand onto my paycheck every year. All right. The beard fee would become very real. I don't like it. I don't like how Yankees fans are overly obnoxious. All right. And they are. I mean, that's New York sports. It is a little endearing in a way, but it's also aggravating as hell. But I'll tell you why the real reason I'm mad at the New York Yankees today is. I'm mad at the New York Yankees because I think this may have been the best postseason of baseball I have seen in a very long time. From the wild card round, where all but one series were over within 2 games, there was one wild card series that went all 3 games. Don't care. They were lightning. They were electric. They were fantastic. Then we had a divisional series and championship series on both ends that were incredible. I've said this a couple of times. We had every damn type of story you could ask for. We had the plucky underdogs in the Cleveland Guardians. We had the corporate authority and the Yankees and the Dodgers. We had the biggest names in the game. We had the Shoheis and the Judges, sure. But we had names on every team. We had a great team. We had multiple great teams that were made up of guys that aren't necessarily household names and all-star superstars. But man, when you put the 9 boys out on the field together, something special happened. This was, and I am hesitant to say things like this because as I've said on the show many times, I am fearful of falling victim to recency bias. Recency bias is an inherent logical flaw that humans make where the thing that you are currently going through, because it is the freshest and most vivid in your brain, the things that you are going through, because it is first and foremost in the noggin, is the most whatever thing that you can remember. Scary, dangerous, fun, exciting, competitive, whatever. The thing that you're doing right now. So I am hesitant to say this is the best postseason baseball of my life in case I am falling down the well of recency bias. Is it? Or does it just feel that way because the memories and the experiences of this baseball postseason are still happening, still fresh, still brand new? And the memories of what happened in 1996 or 2001 or 2014 aren't as fresh. I don't remember them. You know, every now and then I'm a big fan of going down the Wikipedia rabbit hole, right? Where I'll go find a random thing that I heard about for the first time, and I go read about it on Wikipedia. And then after I read about that, I go up and I find a blue link that leads me to another thing, and I read about that thing, and I read about the next thing and the next thing, and I go down this rabbit hole where I dive in. Well, I do that with sports memories sometimes, right? I do that in sports memories. Every now and then, Rob Brown will go back and say, watch the 2009 Super Bowl, when the Saints won the Super Bowl, beat the Indianapolis Colts down in Miami, Florida. And then something will spark a memory. And I'll be like, oh man, Marvin Harrison. I remember when I'll go watch that game. And then something from that, I'll see another player who's maybe in the twilight of their career when Marvin Harrison was a rookie. And I'll go, oh dude, I remember that guy. And then I pop over to YouTube and I watch that guy's highlights from the early 90s or whatever. And all these memories come rushing back. Versus memories that are being actively created right now. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, as much as I am, and those of you that have followed the show and heard me talk about the SEC for many years, I get very frustrated when sports people say, oh, this thing is inherently better because a big market team is involved. If you followed my thoughts on the NBA as a fan of the New Orleans Pelicans, a small market team for many years, and the fact that I believe the NBA actively makes it difficult for small market to win, not impossible, Milwaukee Bucks, but difficult for teams like New Orleans to keep up with teams like New York, right? And you've heard the rants. They happen every year. It's inevitability. Whenever the Pelicans have a great player, Anthony Davis, Zion, whatever, Every single offseason, I get a bunch of dork losers from New York City going, oh, that one good player from the Pelicans, he should come to the Knicks. Why? So he can play in New York. Screw you. Screw you. You're making it actively difficult for half of the league to be competitive, and I got a real problem with it. However, when the Dodgers and the Yankees both punched a ticket to the World Series, they are the number 1 and number 2 television markets in America, respectively. The New York City area, number 1 TV market in America, LA Dodgers, number 2. I actually got pretty excited. About this because this is a rivalry that doesn't just date back in terms of top 2 television markets. This is a rivalry, pardon me, that dates back quite literally a century, man. A century. These are the 2 proudest, most historic teams in Major League Baseball. This is DiMaggio and Koufax, man. This is Robinson and Ruth, man. Like these are franchises that date back to the damn 1900s. I think the Yankees, maybe if you go through some of the previous iterations of the Yankees back into the 1800s. I was very excited about this rivalry. Super stupid excited about it because this hasn't happened since 1981. This isn't like, the NFL where the New England Patriots were in the Super Bowl like 17 out of 24 years or something stupid like that, where it's just the same thing browbeating you every single I'm sick of it. This is a rivalry that's got roots that date back to the last turn of the century and hasn't been played since 1981 in a World Series format. I was actually really excited about it. And instead of getting this incredible series that was just going to be the next chapter in history between the 2 most historic and proud franchises in Major League Baseball, instead I got the Yankees out here just screwing it up, dude, because the Dodgers are very good. But if we're keeping it a buck, the Dodgers aren't doing anything special right now, right? Like Freddie Freeman's doing something special, sure. A grand slam in game 1, a home run in game 2, a first inning home run in game 3. Freddie Freeman's doing something special. Walker Buehler didn't do anything outside of the box special last night. It was special in that this is a cat returning from a Tommy John surgery that did not have a ton of regular season to lean on, and yet he went out last night and he threw a good game. 5 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, 0 runs. What do you have, 5 Ks when it was all said and done? Like, good day. Not going down in the annals of World Series history. But then I got stuff like pulling Garrett Cole in game 1 after 84 pitches when he was dominating the Lakers, and the Lakers popped off and won that game. Bringing out Nestor Cortez instead of Tim Hill, who has been lights out for the Yankees out of the pen. And instead they go with Nestor Cortez, who hadn't pitched a baseball game in like 2 months. And then last night, sending Giancarlo Stanton, maybe the slowest player in baseball. I'm not kidding. Like, I know dudes do that thing where they see a player screw up and they go, oh, could do that. No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't do that. I think I could outrun Giancarlo Stanton today. I'm not joking. I think I could outrun him today. I'm a fat 40-year-old piece of trash. I think I could outrun Giancarlo Stanton today. But you're sending him against an all-star in left field with a cannon for an arm? I'm mad at the Yankees because they are ruining what was one of the best postseasons of my life by stanking in the World Series, and it's very frustrating.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
All right, time to ask what the X is going on, and Rob will tell us why. The first thing that's Xing is Will Howard.
Will Howard Xing because he's going to be the only starting quarterback that's going to be starting when the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Penn State Nittany Lions get together this weekend. Is that why?
He is Xing because he we'll see if this is motivation for him or for Penn State, but he's out there saying he wanted to play for Penn State and Penn State didn't want him. So we'll see. There's a little more to that, but basically that's it. He wanted to play for them. That's the team he pulled for growing up from the area. They didn't want him.
If I asked you right now to genuinely grade the performance of Will Howard this year, your grade would be what?
C.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. And so we'll see what he does when he's properly motivated.
I get
part of the problems last week were, as I said, play calling, and it was also him.
Sure. I get, and in the Oregon game, the way that ended, all him.
Yeah,
he's got to know better.
For sure.
I would say, and this is the brutal truth about sports, Will, the reason Penn State didn't want you is because you're not that good. You're fine. You're fine. You're good enough to be carried by a great team to a playoff berth for sure. But you're not jump off the page at you good that Penn State owed you a spot.
I was going to say, we'll see about that because Indiana and Penn State, they got to beat both those teams to make the playoff. They lose to one of them, and they're not going in.
Yeah, you guys can't lose another game.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
All right, the next thing that's Xing is Dan Castellaneta.
I got nothing.
Okay, I
got nothing.
I didn't think you would on this, but you will when I tell you that he's the voice of Homer Simpson.
Okay, well then I know why. I know why this is happening. Because last night, it was announced that coming up on Nickelodeon, they do the animated games where there was they did Toy Story and they did SpongeBob and whatever, where they actually animate the football game as the real game's being played. They put trackers on all the players and they animate the game. It's actually a pretty cool piece of technology. Last night they announced the next animated football game was going to be The Simpsons. And the Dallas Cowboys, I don't even remember who they're playing at this point, but they're animating it, and each team will be partnered up with the Simpsons character. I think is it the Bengals? I think it's the Bengals. Cowboys-Bengals, I think, is the game. The Bengals got partnered up with Bart Simpson. The Cowboys got partnered up with Homer Simpson, which should tell you everything you need to know about the 2024 Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, all that's well and cool unless you're a Cowboys fan, but he's Xing because it's his birthday.
Oh, well, that's way less fun. I mean, happy birthday.
I know.
To the voice actor behind one of the greatest television characters of all time in Homer Simpson. Big fan. But no, it's the fact that Homer got partnered up with the Dallas Cowboys, and that is an illustration of what the season has been for them.
All right, the next thing is Xing is Avril Reese, which you never got to, by the way.
Angel Reese?
Avril Reese.
Is that
or Val Reese? I said it wrong. My bad. The defender from Ohio State.
Oh, in my head, I was seeing an amalgamation of Avril Lavigne and Angel Reese, and I was like,
good combo.
Yeah, not bad. Avril Reese will not be suspended for the first half of the Ohio State v. Penn State game after an appeal of the targeting call, which we had a lengthy discussion on yesterday. Apparently, the NCAA has decided that the contact was made with the chest before the head and therefore took the targeting penalty off the board, meaning he will not be suspended for the first half, and that is enormous for the Buckeyes of Ohio State.
Amazing how we never touched on that today because they said exactly what I said yesterday, and I was completely right.
Okay.
But, we just passed up on that fact.
Did you read? Is that what the actual ruling said?
Oh, for sure. It said that Lonzo's right.
Gotcha. Okay. Hey, it's Winona Ryder's birthday today.
That was also on here.
I'm going to go ahead and take an extra second to shout out one of the scream queens in history, Winona. Big fan. Big fan. Big fan. Big fan. Hey, that's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you being here. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again, but better. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. Tell your friends about us. We want to be famous. We'll see you back here tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later.
Touchdown. That was easy.
It's so bad. And by the way, to the people saying I left the commercials on, no, I didn't. If Rob and I don't talk,
it just comes over the mics.
It bleeds in through the thing. So it's our fault for not talking.
The commercials play on the speakers in here so we can hear it. So if we're not talking, the speaks come through the mics. I don't know why I call them speaks. That's not what I call them.
He does.
I regret that.
He calls them that all the time. And I ask him, why you call him speaks? And he says, you're not cool. You don't understand.
You don't speak the lingo.
Yeah. So there's that.
Happy birthday, Lydia.
We're not far away from the final season of Stranger Things coming out. I think it's next.
I bet on Stranger Things in season 2. It just didn't do it for me. And I know it's weird.
No, it's okay. Not everything's for everybody.
That's also true.
But there's enough people for it to be.
All Oh, for sure. I don't
excited.
judge anybody who likes it at all. It just wasn't for me.
It was my childhood. So every year they touched on, I recognize the year. So, but there's a fast forward. So I have to be in the 90s probably. So your time.
All right, y'all. That's going to do it for us. We're out. Thanks for being here. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow the show. I hope you have a lovely rest of your Tuesday. Come back tomorrow. We got a lot to talk about tomorrow. Also, major announcement from the Greenville Triumph tomorrow, 2 p.m. at Bridgeway Center in Malden, and I will be there for that. So if you don't have lunch plans and you are a fan of the Greenville Triumph, come on out. Let's have a daytime beer. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Goodbye.
They were at Comic-Con Junior. I just did